Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. Let me turn down the music, get it a little bit lower. Let me say that again. Knicks family, what's poppin' with you? It's your boy. We're going to break down this New York Knicks playoff push, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be fun. You're going to have a good time. Have a good conversation. We want you to call in. Talk to us a little bit. I want to know what you think about this playoff push. And do we have enough to make this playoff push? It's not going to be easy, ladies and gentlemen. You've seen us lose to the Boston Celtics last night in another excruciating game down the stretch. Another one. Got my man Andy with me, and I'm pretty sure we're going to have some other people here in the chat. But you know, and I don't mean to have that come across my face. I don't know what just happened. Let's see if I can clear that up. See if we can get back to it. There we go. So let's start that over. Knicks family, what's poppin'? Is your boy. The New York Knicks, ladies and gentlemen, are in the midst of a playoff push. And it's a hard one. It's a tough one. We're down to the final 20 games of the season. And we're right in the thick of things. Currently in the 8th spot, ladies and gentlemen. Currently in the 8th spot. Do we have enough gas to make it to the finish line? We're going to talk about it today. I got my boy Andy here in the chat. Pretty sure some other people are going to join us in the chat. We want you to call in because we want to know what you think. So, hey, let's go ahead and get to it. Get ready to break this thing down. Andy, what's popping with you, my man? How are you feeling this? Well, it's not this afternoon for you. This evening for you.
Yeah,
how are you feeling this evening?
It's the evening for me, but thanks for asking. Happy to be on, happy to be, on the show again, because lately the shows are a little bit late for me. Can't stay up that long. But I'm happy the show is, at least an hour earlier. So I'm going to make these kind of shows.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I'm glad to be able to have you here. Hey, it's the final 20. The final 20. And this is probably the roughest part of our schedule so far this season. Schedule makers didn't do us any favors. It's the final 20 games. It's the playoff push. Playoff push. We're going to take a look at who's around us in that playoff push, in the seeding, in the standings. We'll talk about, hey, how can we get there? What do the New York Knicks need to do to get there? We'll take a look at the schedules from some of the other teams, look at their strength of schedule and whether we think they're going to win or lose, and see how we may, I guess we'll give kind of a prediction, Andy, on how we might end up. It's going to be interesting, ladies and gentlemen, these last 20 games of the season. All I got to say is this. These last 20 games, we haven't been here since 2013. So I'm giving you just a little bit of advice. These last 20 games, when you're watching the games, go into a room where it's just you. If you have the money and the means, pad your room with cushioning all around the walls. Take your remote control, cover it in cushion if you can. Tell all your kids, your wife, your husband, put earmuffs on or put earphones on, listen to music while you're watching the game. That way, you have the freedom to throw things against the wall. You have the freedom to curse all you want. You have the freedom to throw your remote control. Okay? And it won't break. Now, I can't tell you anything to put over your television screen that are protected from being broke, so don't throw anything at your screen and don't break your TV. Just be prepared for these last 20 games because it is going to be excruciating. It's going to be tough. Andy, what do you think, man?
I totally agree. If you guys would be in Poland, I could cover you guys up with tempered glass for the TV sets, make some money off of it, but that would probably help.
Hey, you know what? Hey, Andy, look, we might need to go ahead and invent something like that. You know what I mean? Just your sports TV screen that protects it from any and all flying objects.
Yeah, exactly right.
It might work. That might work.
Half an inch tempered glass, just before the screen.
Yeah, that might work. That might work. I don't know, man. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at what it looks like, what the standings look like. We're going to focus on the Knicks. So the top of the Eastern Conference, you got Philly, Brooklyn, and Milwaukee. Pretty much that's the top three. Nobody's getting in there, right? So there's not a need to look at those guys because I don't think any one of those teams are going to drop. And I definitely don't believe Charlotte or Miami or us or anyone else is going to get into that top three. So I don't see a reason to look at them guys.
I agree.
Yeah. So when we look at the 4 through 10, seeds 4 through 10, and when we take a look at that, it's jumbled up. Charlotte Hornets are 26 and 24. The Atlanta Hawks are 27 and 25. The Miami Heat, they're 26 and 25. The Boston Celtics are 26 and 25. The New York Knicks are 25 and 27. The Indiana Pacers, they're 23 and 27. And the Chicago Bulls, they're 21 and 28. Right? So it's jumbled up. And you see the orange line going across the screen. We got the orange line going across the screen because that is where we separate seeds 6 and 7. Okay? And for those of you who may not have been paying attention or know what's going on with the playoffs this year, seeds 7 through 10 are going to be participating in a play-in tournament. Right, so the 6th seed, where that orange line is, that's the magic line right there. If you could be above...
That's the safe spot.
That's the
safe spot.
That's the safe zone. If you can be above that orange line, any of those seeds, 1 through 6, you are automatically in the playoffs. You don't want to be in that 7 through 10, especially a team like the Boston Celtics. Look, the New York Knicks, the Chicago Bulls, but the Boston Celtics, the Pacers, they didn't come into the season saying, hey, we're going to be in a play-in tournament. You better believe that. Right? They came into the season believing that they're going to be straight up playoff teams. But yeah, I'm not trying to be in that 7 through 10, but the way it's looking right now, we may be in that 7 through 10 spot. And the way it goes is seeds number 7 and 8, they'll play against each other in the bracket. The winner gets the 7th spot. Seeds number 9 and 10 will play against each other in the bracket. The loser is eliminated, and then you have the winner of 7 and 8, or the loser of 7 and 8, play the winner of 9 and 10. And then the winner of that game is in the 8th seed, and they're in the playoffs. So that's the way, that's the way it looks. And if you weren't familiar with it, you're familiar with it now. All right, so the Knicks have 20 games to try to get back into that 6th spot. Now, I'm not gonna lie. I'll be happy with the being 7 through 10. I'll be happy with that for this team right now. It's called growth and development. You know what I'm saying? So I'll be happy with that if we can get into that spot. What about you, Andy?
Well, yes, Simba. Before the season, I predicted we're going to get 20 couple of wins. So, this means every win now is basically above my expectations, which I predicted before the season. So I'm not going to be, and I'm not going to lie that I'm not going to be happy if the season ended today, right? So it's like you said, basically the even if I would have to be between 7 and 10, I'd rather be 7 or 8 because you got that one game that you can lose, and then you got the bracket game, right? So
right.
unless you get that loss in the first bracket, you still can get into the playoffs. Right. And that's really important, because even if we get swept in the playoffs, which I don't believe, I think at least thanks to even Thibs alone and the game preparation, I think we're not going to get swept. Just at least we're going to get at least one W, I believe. And I don't care about the opponent. If it's going to be Philly, Brooklyn, or the Bucks, I think we can get at least one win. So I don't believe we're going to get swept. But those 4 or 5 games of experience for these young guys that we have on this current roster is going to be major. Fizdale was taking these guys to Boston just to watch the games from the stands, right? Being on the court, playing meaningful minutes, seeing the preparation for the playoff battles is something that only I think 4 or 5 players now on this current roster saw before in their careers. Not to knock on Theo Pinson, but he was, in the bubble last year, so he's counted into one of those 5 guys on this roster. So, that I think that's a really important experience for these young guys.
Yeah, I agree. I think it even right now, being in the midst of this playoff push is an important experience for them.
Yeah,
right, because they have to learn right now. How do I prepare? And I'm not just talking about watching film, but mentally and physically. How do I prepare to be ready for these battles? Right? How, coming down these last 20 games, what's the mindset that I need to have? How much rest am I going to get? How do I keep myself hydrated? Right? Because we all know that hydration, you don't keep yourself hydrated the day of the game. You keep yourself hydrated before the game. Right. So, how am I taking care of my health? Because I know I've got to go into a battle every single night. I've got to go to war every single night. How do I take care of myself? Now, we're in the midst of a pandemic. There's, there's in different cities and places, there's, there may or may not be restaurants open or bars open. And then, of course, the NBA has their set of rules that you have to abide by in places that they say you can go to eat and all of those type of things. So that helps them out a little bit. So that, it kind of restricts them from being able to go out to different places and helps them to stay focused. They don't have those
extra distractions, right?
Exactly.
At least the young guys.
Exactly. Helps them to stay focused and keep their mind on basketball. So I think that this is a very, very valuable, even right now, valuable experience for this team. I want to take a look at the schedule. All right. And I'll read off the game so that you can see it, Andy. Then everybody else can, kind of, they'll be able to see what's going on. We'll read off the schedule of these last 20 games. And then from there, I want to take a look at what are some of the issues with the New York Knicks right now, and how do we attack those issues or address those issues? Let me say that. Right. And actually, before we get to that, let me get you a phone call. Then we'll come back and we'll get to the Knicks schedule. How about that? All right. Calling you live. What's popping?
How's it going, Sam?
It's going good, man. It's going good. Trying to figure out, how the Knicks are going to look coming down the stretch of this season.
Yeah, me too. 20 games left. It's if they go 3-2 for every series of 5 games, they'll end up 37-35 with the winning record. So that's how I'm looking at it.
That it sounds good. But it's definitely not as easy as it sounds, right? It's a little bit more of a difficult task than it sounds.
They got a 6-game homestand. Well, they got 3 games home coming up, then 2 on the road, then 6 at home, then 6 on the road, and then 3 at home to finish it up. So it's like it's feast and famine in terms of home and road. And I don't know, man. To me, this whole season was house money. I said if they win 30 games, that'd be good. 32 games, that'd be good. But now that we're there, I want a winning record. I want that 6 slot.
Yeah.
Minimum.
Yeah. No. Listen, I'm with you. I get it. We started off the season with one set of expectations. Midway through the season, we have a different set of expectations. And that's natural to happen, because sometimes growth and development happens faster than you expect it to happen. And I think in this case, maybe it happened a little bit faster than we expected it to happen, right? Now we're here. And we got to figure out how to get over the hump. And it's a difficult task, very difficult task, but we got to try to, I'm pretty sure Tom Thibodeau and the coaching staff and the team, the players, they're brainstorm. Okay, what do we got to do? Where are our weaknesses? How are teams attacking us? And how do we get over the hump? I have my idea on some of the things that, some of the issues that need to be addressed. Addressing them, I have one thing, and I'm going to point it out a little bit later, that I'm thinking about that's in my head that maybe prevents us from even being able to address the issues. So. But I'll talk about that a little bit later.
Okay.
I'm not ready to get to it just yet. Quick,
R.J. Barrett.
Yeah.
Since he had that stretch with R3, have you seen that? He's shooting 46% from 3-point land since he had that 0 for 21 stretch at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't ask for more from him at 20 years old.
No, you can't. He's playing magnificent basketball, making some mistakes down the stretch, but that's expected from R.J. Barrett, and it's good for him to make these mistakes right now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because this is how you learn. You learn from making mistakes. And I don't know why I got Lance Stevenson up on the screen. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. It wasn't supposed to switch that, but somehow it did. Let me get back to there we go. Apologize for that. Anyway, see, I just threw myself off. He's learning
how great R.J. Barrett is.
Yeah, he's learning what to do in these moments, and he's making some mistakes. But listen, he's shooting well during these situations. You seen him last night. He was 6 for 6 from the field, from the 3-point line, right? And even though he's making mistakes, you learn from those mistakes. That's the only way to learn is to make mistakes. So. I really like what R.J. Barrett is doing right now.
Me too. I can't wait till he gets, even older. And I mean, the Knicks are there, man. They're in 3-possession games, so games 9 points or less. They're 10-14. And there's been a lot of close games that they could have won if they had that one extra player. So they're going to get there next season.
Yeah. Listen, that's encouraging because there's a lot of Knicks fans right now that, don't feel good about the team and kind of down on the team. And, I get it because, we've gone through a stretch of games where we've had leads and we had a chance to win. We had double-digit leads and we made some, just bad blunders down the stretch. I get it. But, some of it is encouraging as well because it means we're learning. The fact that we're in this spot just means we're learning. So, hey, I appreciate your time, man.
Take care.
Yeah, and I do want to let people know, man, we're going to open up the video chat a little bit. Me and Andy got some things we want to get through. So we'll open it up in a little bit and let people get their piece in, get their say in and all that good stuff. Let's take a look at the Knicks schedule, right? And then we'll, talk about it from there. Currently, this is the last 20 games of the season, ladies and gentlemen. Currently, right now, we play Memphis, so it's not right now, it's Friday. We play Memphis this Friday, and that begins a 3-game homestand. In that 3-game homestand, we play Memphis, as I just mentioned, Toronto, and then Los Angeles. Right? But it doesn't, Los Angeles, they are who they are right now. Toronto, they're below 500, but I didn't like when we played them the first game. I'm nervous about playing them again. We've got to play them again, of course. I'm nervous about playing them again because, they're a team that can I'm not going to say that they can turn it on at any time, but they're going to fight and they're going to scratch and they're going to battle because they still are in contention in that 10th seed. Okay, we play the Lakers. We play the Pelicans. Right? Then we play Dallas again. Then we play the Pelicans again. Right now, we really start to get, after we play the Pelicans that second time, we really start to get into these next 3 games. All will have playoff implications. The Charlotte Hornets, they currently sit in the 4th seed in the Eastern Conference. The Atlanta Hawks, they're right behind the Charlotte Hornets. You got the Toronto Raptors again, who's going to be fighting. They're going to be fighting for that 10th seed. Most likely. You got the Phoenix Suns. Of course, they are, that game is not going to have deep implications on the Eastern Conference, but still, whether or not the Knicks win or lose that game is going to have implications. And for the Phoenix Suns, it's going to have implications on their playoff standings. And they're, currently one of the top teams in the Western Conference. The Chicago Bulls we play. Now, we've already won the season series with the Chicago Bulls. We've also won the season series with the Atlanta Hawks already. So that bodes well for us. But these games, it's going to come down to these games. We got to win these games. And we just seen the Chicago Bulls last night. Who they beat last night? The Indiana Pacers. All right, the Rockets. We play the Rockets. They're out of it. We play the Memphis Grizzlies again. They are, right now, we play the Memphis Grizzlies next, and they're currently in the 8th seed in the Western Conference. They're on a 4-game win streak. We play the Denver Nuggets. They're going to be fighting for a playoff spot. We play the Phoenix Suns again, still fighting for a playoff spot. Los Angeles Clippers, the Los Angeles Lakers, the San Antonio Spurs. All of these teams fighting for a playoff spot, ladies and gentlemen. Going to be battles. The Charlotte Hornets once again. And then the last game of the season, the Boston Celtics. And that game, listen, if we would have beat the Celtics last night, then we would have won the season series, which means we would have won the tiebreaker. Now, that last game of the season, we don't know what kind of playoff implications it's going to have for the New York Knicks. But it could end up being really instrumental, as far as, do we win the tiebreaker against them? Where are we in the standings right now? They're 7th, we're 8th. Tough schedule right now, ladies and gentlemen. Tough schedule. I'm going back up to the top. I want to look at how many teams are currently in a playoff battle, and I'm including that 10th seed. The Memphis Grizzlies, that's 1. Toronto Raptors, they're 2. I don't care what anyone says. They're in the 11th spot. They're like a game out of that 10th spot. They're fighting for that 10th spot. The Los Angeles Lakers, that's 3. Dallas Mavericks, that's 4. The Charlotte Hornets, that's 5. The Hawks, that's 6. All right, the Raptors, we're still at 6. I'm not going to count them twice. The Suns, that's 7. The Bulls, that's 8. All right, we played Memphis again. That's another team. Again, we're still at 8, but actually we're playing 10 playoff teams in playoff contention during this stretch so far because, a couple teams we played twice. You got the Denver Nuggets, 11. Phoenix Suns again, that's 12. We'll go ahead and count those guys. That's 12. The Clippers, 13. Los Angeles Lakers, 14. The Spurs, 15. The Hornets, 16. The Suns, 17. I don't know. I missed a couple in there. Okay, well, 17 of our 20 games are against playoff teams. Teams battling for playoff position, ladies and gentlemen. 17 of the 20 are teams battling for playoff position. Right now, the Memphis Grizzlies have a winning record. The Lakers have a winning record. The Mavs have a winning record. The Hornets have a winning record. The Hawks have a winning record. The Suns have a winning record. The Grizzlies have a winning record. The Nuggets have a winning record. The Clippers have a winning record. The Spurs have a winning record. 17 of the 20 games. 17 of the 20 games, Andy, of the 20 teams that we play are currently battling for a playoff spot. And yes, I'm including the Toronto Raptors because they are still battling for that 10th seed. Just really quick, before we get into anything else, your thoughts behind that.
Yeah, like we said several times before, our schedule is actually one of the hardest going, to the end of the season. We got that nice 6-game homestand, but it's also followed by a terrible 6-game away stand, 6 or even 7. 6-game away stand. So it's really, really gonna be a hard thing to go through. Looking that we are 2 games under 500, and we would be loving to be in the top 6 in the East. So we're gonna try to predict and pencil in the last 20 games later on. So we're gonna see how that's gonna be going.
Yeah, man, that's it's just rough, and I don't know. It's going to be a difficult task. I think it's one that the team is up for. I think they're up for it, and I'm pretty sure that they embrace the challenge. The question is, do they have it? Do they have enough left in the tank? I think that's the big question about this team and whether or not they can make it through the rest of this season. You know what I'm saying? Because this team, already, they came into the season knowing and understanding that they were going to have to play with a certain level of intensity each and every night. Right? Each and every night. They knew they were going to have to play with a certain level of intensity. They were going to have to bring that extra effort. They were going to have to pay attention to the details. They were going to have to be a little bit smarter than other teams. They came in. If you listen to them in the preseason, this was their thought process. But the things that they said that they had to do, which they've done for a good portion of this season, and they've been able to bounce back from rough skids, and they're in the middle of one right now. They've been able to bounce back. But the things that they said that they needed to do, they've done it, but it adds an extra level of, I don't want to say responsibility, but I don't know. I guess it's just effort is the word, right? Just adds this extra effort, onto every game, a little bit more pressure in every game, because they don't have enough talent on the team to take possessions off or to take a stretch off. They just can't do that. Right? So when you look at what are the needs in order for the Knicks to try to go ahead and push through to the playoffs, what are they going to have to do? One, and we'll talk about each one. The first thing I'm going to talk about is learn how to close games, fourth quarter execution. We've been seeing it over the last however many games, since they've come back from the All-Star break, that they've been unable to close games out. They've had bad fourth quarter execution in a lot of games. Obviously, they've had leads, and they gave the lead back to whoever they were playing, whether it be Philadelphia, Miami, Minnesota, Dallas, Boston. They gave the lead back to the opposing team. I don't know if it's lack of focus. We know it's poor execution, but why are they having this poor execution? Closing games and in the fourth quarter. I have my reason why, but I want to get through this list first. What do you think, Andy?
Well, I think our offense at the end of the game is really predictable. We play, most of their offense is basically ISO through Julius or through RJ. They try to mix up Reggie Bullock quite oftenly with Julius in the pick and roll game on the left side of the court, at least the last couple of games. But it's still really predictable. We don't move the ball pretty fast, pretty well. And at the end of the season, the scouting reports are already out. So we saw Emmanuel Quickly's offensive game dropped, and I mean dropped, like he hit a rookie wall. But it's not actually that he hit the wall. He's just not even getting the attempts that he had, earlier in the season. So, it's like you said, it's several things, but I think the most important thing is that our offense is really predictable for the opposite teams.
Right. It is. I think it's definitely predictable for the opposing team. I wonder if, down the stretch, are we? Well, I guess I'll say it now, because I think this right here, what I'm going to say, I think it kind of it's going to hinder the Knicks from addressing the issues that's on this list, especially your fourth quarter execution. I think that the Knicks, because of the style of team that they are and the players that they have on this team, they've got to give maximum effort for all 3 quarters of a game. They have to, in order to have a chance to win. Where other teams, like the teams, and I'm not talking about the Minnesotas, we should have beat them, right? But like the Bostons and Philadelphia and Brooklyn and those type of teams, they have more talented players in your ancillary positions, right? Or ancillary players, or your role players. Let's say that they have more talent there, so they can afford to maybe go through some stretches where they rest during the midst of the game. The Knicks can't afford to do that, right? We've got to play at maximum tilt from the tip, and then there's no more room when you get to that fourth quarter for them to go up another level, because they've been playing at a maximum level from the beginning of the game. And maybe this explains why right now we're breaking out to leads, but we can't bring it home, because we've already, in order to get that lead, we've already played at our maximum level. And then now come fourth quarter, it's hard for us to play at that maximum level, or the opposing team is able to turn it up a little bit because they've been able to, smooth through some parts of the game. Go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, and to a little bit elaborate on the points you made, I think it's also about the short-term resistancy, and by short-term I mean like half of the game or the quarter or whatever spread of time in the game time, right? Because and it's going to be also to a couple of points on the list that you were talking about. The Knicks currently are a really young team under a new head coach. They don't have the chemistry built around them to the point that they are able to go on the scoring stretches, the defensive stretches of the basketball game, that they are, like you said, able to afford a little bit of a break or a letdown or something like that. We know that basketball is a game of runs, but if you don't have the offensive power to go on a, let's say, 18, even 15-0, offensive run, and we barely saw the Knicks, maybe they did it like 4 or 5 times, in this whole season. Meanwhile, the rest of the NBA, they got scoring power. They can go on 20-point, rampages and score, right? Meanwhile, with the characteristic of this team, we try to, scrap it off of defense. But still, we don't have that kind of a defense that we can hold these guys and break those runs, those 12, 15, 18, 20-point offensive stretches from the opposite teams. So, We don't have the experience to stop these kind of runs. I don't know, the more experienced players, the vets, should do a hard foul just to bump out the opposite team out of a stretch or mood or whatever. Of course, the coach should be doing that with taking timeouts and other adjustments. But because of this team, like I said before, it's really young and doesn't have the chemistry yet. I think we don't know how to, stop the opposite teams from getting on those scoring rampages. And that's why we also are losing those leads, because we can't build up a 20, 30-point lead. And then we can't, stop the team from coming back. We have those 8, 10, 12-point leads, which, like you said before, we just lose them. Yeah. And that's because of the characteristic of this team and, lack of experience, lack of short-term resiliency, right? And, going further from looking for the whole season, the resiliency is really important, like I mentioned also before, that teams don't go on long stretches, losing runs, right? I think the Laker teams, that I think even the Chicago Bulls teams that Tibbs was a coach, they never went like for over 3-game losing stretch. That was the main focus, just to get back on the winning, in the winning column. Then you know that in the short-term goals, you're not going to be a losing team, and that's really important.
Right. Yeah. So how do we address this issue? I seen someone in the chat say, open up the rotation a little bit more, or if not opening it up a little bit more, because they're going 10. They're going 10 deep. Other teams, there's some teams that's not even going 10 deep. Now they go 10 deep, but sometimes Obi will play 8 minutes. Right, pretty much just enough to give Julius Randle a breather. Do you think sometimes Tom Thibodeau just has to ride with him just a little bit longer? Or I mean, do you think that's a way to address the issue? I mean, because even when those guys come off the bench, they've got to come in and play at maximum level effort as well.
Well, I think, and I noticed it not only last couple of games, but even at the beginning of the season, that, for example, last game, we had RJ having really a hot hand, and we weren't milking that. And that's kind of weird if you're talking about a team that plays pretty much ISO basketball. I'm not saying that he should force it, or we should just give the ball to RJ and let him go. But he was 4 for 4 for 3-point from deep, right? And he was waiting for that fifth shot basically till the end of the game. So I was thinking that we should go more through him, and we also saw Thibs getting a hot player on the bench, sitting him. And I know it's gonna sound like somebody's like I'm gonna have an issue with Tibbs' rotation. But it's not, actually like that, because I understand that being a head coach, you don't see the same things that fans that are looking and having the whole court on one view and stuff. He needs to rely on the assistant coaches, on the stat guys and stuff. Mm-hmm. But it's really a thing that, I bet he watches the game after and he points out for himself, like, oh, damn, I should have kept him a little bit longer. Milk this guy instead of putting in someone else on the court instead of, or mixing the rotation a little bit. For me, we are still in the point of the season that we are maybe not looking for the rotation, but we still can at least try to mix it up a little bit. And I'm not saying add a 11th player or a 12th player, right? Just give a guy a breather for one game, or if it's going to be a back-to-back, just add, for example, I don't know, sit quickly, put in Frank, sit Obi, put in Knox, and see how that is going to develop and how that is going to look. Because, playing these kind of guys, like putting in them, for example, like you said, Obi plays like 8 minutes, right? You don't do it like play Obi 5 minutes and put in Kevin Knox for 3 minutes. 3 minutes is a very short span of time to show off yourself and your skill set in an NBA game. And most of the players on the bench aren't going to shine in those kind of minutes. Players in the NBA that are going to shine are pure scorers, like a Lou Williams type of guy, a walking buckets like a Jamal Crawford. They come into the game, they have the basketball in their hands, and they can change the game, right? We don't have those kind of classy players on the bench that, we were thinking that maybe Alec Burks is going to be that guy. He can handle the ball, he can go hot, but, he's so inconsistent that we can't rely on him in that kind of a manner. So, I think shaking up the rotations at least a little bit to, get a fresh breather of fresh air and just mixing it up, seeing and testing. Maybe some kind of chemistry is built with, I don't know, D-Rose and Obi Toppin or something like that. I think still these kind of 20 games, we got like a couple of games that we can, test it out, because, the last 5 games, I think Julius is going to be playing like 45 minutes a game. Yeah. If we're going to still be looking for that run, or it's going to be, that 1-2 games that we're out of the 7-6 seed, whatever. I think, now we got still a couple of minutes to spare for those guys on the bench. And, even just for the reason to get the ball a little bit moving more, because if we don't have RJ and Julius on the court, the offense looks totally different. So maybe look at it that way, right? So put in fresh blood off the bench and see how the offense, changes, and maybe give a breather to Julius, mainly to Julius.
Yeah. Some other things, defensive and offensive rebounding, right now, what I'm not liking that I'm seeing, and again, this to me is another example of how the team is emotionally and mentally drained, right? From just the amount of energy that they always have to put in every game. I've been saying this for the last few weeks. I don't know if it's all physical, but the mental and emotional part, because of what they've got to bring to the floor every single night, it just drains on you, emotionally and mentally. We're seeing guys, come in with live bodies, right? Not necessarily better rebounders than the guys that we have. Well, Nerlens Noel is not really a good rebounder, but live bodies that are active, actively moving and drifting and sharp and quick to the basketball, quicker on their feet. And right now, we're not there. That's not us. We're missing that pop. We were once that team. We're missing that pop. Obviously, Mitchell Robinson and what he brings to the table is missing, right? He's his contract extension, right now it's going up. I can tell you that. They're looking and saying, damn, we clearly need what he can bring, his offensive rebounding right now. We need it. Right? But the Knicks are getting beat by live bodies. I talked about it before yesterday's game, that we've got to win that rebounding battle against whoever it was. I don't even remember who it was. Brooklyn. We lost the game because we didn't rebound. Right? It was 112. I think it was 112. They missed a shot. All we had to do was rebound the basketball, and we didn't get a rebound. All we had to do was rebound the basketball, and we let TLC get a tip. Live bodies, live hands, being active, having a good nose for the basketball. We're not doing that right now. We've been a good rebounding team all season. Even when Mitchell Robinson was out the first time, we rebounded the ball well. Right now, it's not the same. We're not rebounding. We need our guards to come back and help rebound more and hit those boards. We need to do a better job of finding guys after we let the ball go. Last night, when we played the Celtics, first half, they had 13 offensive rebounds. We had 2. right? You got to finish the defense with a rebound. Finish the defense with a rebound. Yeah, it has to be done. Keep them guys. Even if we're not getting offensive rebounds, we got to finish the defense. If we're not getting offensive rebounds, don't allow them to get offensive rebounds. I don't know how we address it. We do have Novell Pell. I don't know if Tom Thibodeau's going to feel confident putting him in the game in that sort of situation. John Henson, he's already out with an injury. I don't know what it's going to look like now. I think he had a calf strain. He hasn't touched the floor. He hadn't touched the floor. The man got an injury. He's on the injury report. I don't know how you call it. I don't know how long. How he hasn't played since last year. I would hope that he was keeping himself in shape. What was he doing?
Maybe that's after Tibbs' practices. And
I guess so. But I mean, when's the last time we had a practice? Right? They've been playing they've been playing. One day in between games, and normally that day is a shoot around. So they're not really. When did he have a practice? You know what I'm saying? Already hurt, but so we got to address that rebounding issue. Yeah, listen, zone can help. Zone can help. Run a little 2-3 zone, it could help. But I'm not sure if the Knicks, I don't know if Tom Thibodeau's really practiced that. And I don't know if he's ready for it. If the team, the players are ready to just run a 2-3 zone on the fly. You know what I'm saying? Also, they need someone to step up and be a third scorer, plus offensive execution. When I'm saying offensive execution, I'm really kind of speaking about offensive execution when defenses get tight. Because when the defense is not, when the opposing defense isn't always playing tight, you see, it looks like they can move the ball and they can toss the ball around real easy and those type of things. And get shots. But then when defenses begin to play tight, they begin to tighten up a little bit. The ball slows down. It's tougher for them to, it's tougher for them to get to the spots where they want to get to. And I don't know why this thing keeps popping up there. I think I have something in my keyboard that Lance Stevenson keeps popping up there. Maybe it's a sign, Andy. Maybe it's a sign.
Maybe he's the answer, right?
Yeah, maybe it's a sign. Maybe he's got some people somewhere in the background controlling my keyboard or something. I don't know. Maybe it's a sign. But anyway, sorry about that once again, ladies and gentlemen. And again, Lance making them dance. Threw me off. I forgot what I was saying.
Yeah, about the third scorer.
Third scorer, offensive execution.
Yeah, for me, I think it's not only about the third guy. I think it's the second line of scorers we got on this team, and I think these guys really gotta step up, because I don't think Julius can get on a higher level. I don't think we're gonna see RJ get on a higher level than his last couple of games. He's scoring really good and stuff, but we are still lacking, offense, right? And I understand that sometimes Burks might have a game, sometimes Bullock might have a game, sometimes Rose or IQ might have a game. The problem is you never know which night which one of them is going to come up, right? I rather have them scoring less points, but more consistently. That you can expect, for example, Burks is going to score 15, Bullock is going to score 12, IQ is going to score 8, D-Rose is going to score 12. I rather take those 40 couple of solid points, and then they can go above from that. But, it's really hard to have, execution on the offensive end if you don't know if Burks is going to go this game over 20 points or if he's going to score like 5 or 6 points. So, I rather have more consistent guys than, more flashy and getting hot and cold guys.
Yeah.
And with this squad, it's going to be really, really hard to get that consistent scoring off the bench.
Right. Right. And
it's almost impossible.
Yeah. And what I was saying before Lance Make 'Em Dance, threw me off is, when defenses really start to tighten up, and we've seen it all season long, when defenses tighten up, we tighten up. Right? We tighten up. We get a little nervous with the ball. We don't want to turn the basketball over. And then we end up doing just that. Or we end up becoming isolation heavy. Right? When teams really start to jam those passing lanes, jam the cutters, that's when our offense really begins to tighten up. We've got to find a way to battle through that. Teams tighten up, we got to get a little bit tougher. We can't let them knock us off of our block. We can't let the team force us into being ISO heavy. When teams start to go zone, I've said it all season long. Every time we see a zone, we don't let the ball fly and move. We kind of catch one pass, catch it, hold it, let the zone shift, pass it, hold it, let the zone shift. We got to keep that thing moving, especially when an opposing team throws a zone out there at us. But we've got to find that fourth quarter, that offensive execution that we were having earlier in the season. And we've seen it in stretches throughout this current stretch that we're on, where we've been losing these games, getting double-digit leads and losing the games. We've seen it throughout stretches where they can execute, and then they fall off and don't execute. Then they can execute, then they fall off and don't execute. They got to find a way to keep that execution, the consistency of their execution together. Taking care of the basketball. Listen, we only average 13 turnovers a game. But a lot of times we're having big turnovers and we're having turnovers in big moments. I think that's another example of the team, that they put forth so much energy and effort early in the game, and then at the end of the game, they're mentally and emotionally and sometimes physically drained, right? So it's hard, and when that happens, you're not going to think the same. Which is one of the important things about being in shape, and why Tom Thibodeau was telling those guys, you need to be in supreme condition to come in and play because of the style of basketball that you're going to play. Telling Julius Randle, RJ Barrett, and this and that. He knew he was going to play those guys some minutes.
Yeah. And, to this point, I think the worst thing is that the biggest turnovers come from Julius Randle, RJ Barrett, but also from D-Rose. And I think, signing D-Rose was that kind of an assurance that if those guys, the leaders of the first squad, the lineup, aren't going to be playing well, or you're going to want to give them a little bit of break from, taking the ball off the floor and stuff, you're going to slide in D-Rose, and he's going to take care of that exact situation, taking care of the ball. And, we saw him getting also costly turnovers. But, he's not the D-Rose from the MVP season. You see that he's not still back physically from the whole break he had. But, you can also see that he's a little bit older. He has the experience, but, maybe the dribble's not that tight. He knows that these young cats in the league a little bit faster, a little bit stronger than him. And, you see him thinking about going to the basket, and not, looking for contact like he was looking in those prime years of his career, right? So I think it's not like he's mentally not in the game, but you see him a little bit, strapped in those moments, like you said, mentally, and that's why the turnovers come.
Yeah. Nah, I agree with you. And then I think timely defense. Of course, we know we got one of the best defenses in the league. And that's not going to change. I don't think it's going to change coming down the stretch of the season. When I'm saying timely defense, I think making those defensive plays, or not having mental lapses at critical points of the game. You don't want to have mental lapse at all, but it's going to happen. It's going to happen. As fans, we cry about every mistake that a team or a player makes. We get upset. I'm watching a game and I'm like, yo, why did he pass it there? But when you're playing a basketball game, those things are going to happen. It's just this. Basketball is a game of mistakes. I say it all the time to players that I coach, to whomever. It's a game of mistakes. Think about it. If you shoot 50% from the field, you shot well. Right? 50%. It's a game of mistakes. If you shoot 38% from the three-point line, you're shooting well, right? The team that wins makes the less mistakes. Those mistakes don't always come in turnovers. Doesn't always come in missed shots. A lot of times it comes through, your mental fortitude. And we've seen it last night. For the most part, our two guys, RJ and Julius, stood toe-to-toe with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, right? Jaylen Brown had 33 and whatever. RJ had 29 and whatever else. Jason Tatum had 25 and, rebounds and this and that. Shot, 40. I think I forgot what he was. I think he was like 9 for 20 or something from the field. Julius Randle had 22 and 9 and whatever he had. And, he didn't shoot well from the field. But those two guys did their jobs. But then it was the other guys that made plays for us. I mean, for the opposing teams that our other guys wasn't able to do, right? You seen RJ after turning the ball over, comes right back down, gets the kick out, knocks down a big three to tie the game. And then we come down and one of our ancillary players makes a mental mistake, Reggie Bullock, going over to double team Jason Tatum when it wasn't necessary. And then one of their ancillary players knocks down a three. Ball game. For the most part, it was ball game. You know what I'm saying? And those timely defensive mistakes, they come in and they get us. Timely defense. We play great defense. We do. We have a really good defensive team. But sometimes we make those timely mistakes that, we don't get the timely stops when we need them. You know what I mean? And obviously it hurts our team. Listen, we were down 7 or 8 points coming down the stretch of that game. Right? We got down 7 or 8 points with about, 4 minutes to go. We played good enough defense, played well enough to come back and tied the basketball game. Bad defense, a bad mental mistake, kind of cost us the game right there. I'm not going to, it's not to say that they wouldn't have scored. They might have scored elsewhere, but you don't want to make it easy for them. At least you want to make it tough. Timely defense in critical moments, we got to have it. And I think, that also plays part of them having to exude so much energy early in the game that when it comes down to making those mental decisions in crunch time, it's more difficult. You know what I'm saying? And it's a high pressure game, right? And there were times last night when I thought the Knicks were in the fourth quarter that they were scrambling or not sure what they were doing defensively. I seen a moment when RJ and Alfred, they weren't sure who they were supposed to be guarding. Each one of them were kind of running back and forth and they weren't sure who they were supposed to be guarding. I felt like the play where Reggie Bullock went to double team Jason Tatum, I don't know if he went to do it on his own or if he felt that's what the scheme the team was doing, because earlier in the quarter, they were doing some of that double teaming and trapping. If he thought that, then RJ didn't fully know, right? Because I think if RJ knew 100% that's what they were doing, as soon as he saw Reggie Bullock go to trap, he would have ran right over to Marcus Smart because he knew a guy would have been rotating out to his man or at least playing in the passing lanes. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if they were fully on the same page. Instead, RJ took a step towards Marcus Smart and then went back to guarding his man. So that timely defense, I think, is going to be necessary. So just running it back again, I think in order for the Knicks to put themselves in position to make the playoffs, they've got to learn to close in the fourth. They've got to learn to close games, keep their lead, execute in the fourth quarter. They got to figure out this rebounding issue they've been having over the past few games. Defensive and offensive rebounding. They got to figure it out. They need a third scorer to step up. Offensive execution. Right? Both of them in the same, a third scorer and offensive execution. Because you can execute all you want. If them guys become open and they don't hit it, it's the same result. Same result. All right, so we need that. That's going to be critical. Got to take care of the basketball and then timely defense. And the last thing I'll add to that is pop. We're missing that pop. That energy, that pop. We're missing it. The pep in the step, we're missing it. And I know a lot of people are going to point to and say, well, they don't have this talent or that talent. That's not the point here. We're talking about the final 20 games. The final 20. And we're not adding any more talent to this team, right? Trading deadline is passed. It's not happening. So what does this team do to put themselves in the best position? That's the point. What does this team, this current team, as currently constructed, that's on the floor every night and will be on the floor every night for the next 20 games, how do they put themselves in the best position? Can they do it? We don't know. We didn't know early. We didn't know 20 games ago. It was always a question. Can this team do it? Will this team fade? Some people said yes, some people said no, but nobody really knew. So anyone saying that they predicted or they knew what was going to happen, it's a false prophet. It was always a question, and that's what we do here. We question and we analyze. So right now, we're questioning the next 20 games. What can the Knicks do with the roster that's currently constructed? Because that's all we can worry about. Can't worry about the summer. We can't worry about the draft. We got 20 games to go, and we're in the midst of a playoff battle. Or not a battle. We're in the midst of a playoff push. So we focus on these 20 games right here. Andy, anything you want to add to that list before we start really taking a look at what other teams and talking about the schedule of some of these other teams?
I think we covered basically everything here. Not to repeat ourselves, I know that both Guillermo and Isaiah want to comment to the chat. And I bet you Isaiah has a really good point because, he's always asking to be on. So let's hear what Isaiah has to, tell us about this, on this subject.
Well, I mean, they can always call in. Before we open that video chat, I want to get through this other thing. I'm not worried about that. We had a plan and we're sticking to it. We had a plan and we're sticking to it. You know what I mean? And just to let anybody know who thinks that they know what I was or was not saying, I wasn't speaking to anyone in particular. If the shoe fits, rock that mug until it falls off. How about that? That's all I got to say. I wasn't speaking to anyone in particular. I'm just speaking. Bottom line. That's all I can say about that, Andy. If the shoe fits, rock that mug until it falls off. Make sure it's dirty. Make sure the laces are torn up. And then when you're done, throw it over top of the wire on the telephone pole. But if the shoe fits, rock it. And I'll give you another one to put on the other foot if you need it. Anyway, let's talk about these other guys, man. Teams, we looked at the four teams. We looked at seeds 4 through 10 earlier. Right? So surrounding us from 4 to 10, you got the Charlotte Hornets, the Atlanta Hawks, the Miami Heat, the Celtics, then it's us, the Knicks in the 8th spot. You got the Indiana Pacers and the Chicago Bulls. right? That's 4 through 10. That's where we are right now. We want to take a minute and just talk quickly about the schedules of these other teams. And, of course, we know the schedule of the Knicks got a tough schedule. We're going to look at the schedule of these other teams really quick. Well, we're going to talk about it. You're going to have to listen. We don't really have a visual for it. And then, and then we'll get to what we get to. So let's start with Charlotte. Right? When you look at the Charlotte Hornets, when you go through who they have coming up, their schedule clearly isn't as tough as ours. But they still have, I see the Pistons on their schedule, so sheesh, they get lucky with that one. They get lucky with that one, right? But they still have some teams that they have to contend with. Okay, they got the Thunder at 20-30. I don't know. Are you putting this into your?
Yeah.
Thing?
But they already played the Thunder. That was
okay.
yesterday.
So that was yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was yesterday. Okay, so what happened in the game against the Thunder?
They got a W if I'm correct. They're 26-24 now.
Okay, so they won. They beat the Thunder. Then they play the Bucks. That's a tough game, right? Probably going to be, you would think that would be a loss, right? You would think that would be a loss.
Yeah. Let's pencil in a loss.
Right, we'll pencil in Hawks. They play the Hawks. That's a tough one because they're right there with them.
And that's a really important game because both teams, are competing, to get up the standings. So
right, where do you put that?
I think the Hawks are gonna drop a little bit. So I'm still gonna stick with the Hornets that are gonna win this game.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna go that route.
Okay, so you say the Hornets, you got the Lakers.
Yeah, the Lakers. That's gonna be tough because we don't know which Lakers gonna show up. Right, they're out without the AD and LeBron. That's why even the Knicks game was rescheduled from national TV. So I'm guessing the Lakers are gonna be without those two guys versus the Hornets as well.
Right. You got so you want to give them, I don't know, I guess you want to give them a win.
They're at home. Let's give them a W.
Give them a win. You got the Cavaliers. We'll give them a W. They play the Nets. I'll give them a loss.
Yeah.
They play the Blazers. It's a tough one. I guess we'll give them a loss.
Yeah.
Then they play us.
The Knicks.
They play the Knicks. The Knicks currently 25-27. That's going to be a tough battle. We're at home. The Knicks are at home. I don't know how you want to do it. We'll give the Knicks a win.
Yeah,
we'll get the Knicks a win at home. We'll get the Knicks a win. Right? Then they play the Bulls. I think they beat the Bulls.
Yeah.
They beat the Cavs. They play the Celtics. I think they beat the Celtics. I just don't think the Celtics are as good as people think that they are. They play the Bucks. I think they lose to the Bucks.
Yeah.
Right? Then they play the Celtics in Boston, right? Listen, they play close, so we'll give that one to the Celtics. They play the Pistons. I think they beat the Pistons. They play the Heat. That's going to be a tough one. That's going to be a battle because, you're just about 10 games away from the playoffs. That's a battle.
Yeah, we're going to give this one to the Heat, right?
Okay, we'll get that one to the Heat. This is the Charlotte Hornets we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. Then they play the Pistons. I think they beat the Pistons again. They play the Bulls. I think they beat the Bulls. They beat the Magic. I think they beat the Pelicans. I think they lose to the Nuggets, lose to the Clippers. Then they play the Knicks. We play the Knicks again. They play the Knicks. They play us.
At the Garden.
At the Garden. No, at the Garden. I don't know. Do we beat them 2 times in a row?
I don't know. Let's make it a split. So it's going to be fair.
Yeah, we make it a split, right? So we'll give that one to them, which means that they win the season series, and then they play the Wizards, and I'm pretty sure they beat the Wizards.
Yeah.
right? So that's and then you have. Let me go on to. We'll skip over the Knicks. We'll look at the Celtics. Right, and we won't go through everybody, right? We'll just look at a few of them. They already beat us. Okay, they beat us. So yesterday. They got the Timberwolves. I think they beat the Timberwolves.
Definitely.
Right? I think they lose to the Nuggets. I think they lose to the Blazers. I don't know who's playing against the Lakers, so I think we give them a win versus the Lakers.
But they're playing away. So let's give him a loss.
Okay. Okay, we'll give him a loss. We got to give him a loss somewhere. Then we play the Warriors. The Boston Celtics. They play the Warriors. Yeah. We're talking about the Celtics now, ladies and gentlemen. They play the Warriors. Yeah. That's a close one. That's a tight one. They're home.
Yeah, let's get them a W in case they win versus the Lakers. So let's split these games.
Right. The Bulls. I think they beat the Bulls at home. I think they lose to the Suns. They lose to the Nets. They play the Hornets. I don't know who we gave that to. I don't remember.
I think we split it. So, yeah, let's do it also here. Because they got the Hornets again in 2 days. So.
In a couple of games, right? Yeah. I don't remember if we gave them the first one or the second one, though.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
I think we gave the Hornets the first one. So we give them an L here.
Yeah.
Right, we give them an L here. I think they beat the Thunder. Then we gave them a loss. Then we gave them a win versus the Hornets in the second one. And then you got, the Spurs. Home. Let's say that they beat the Spurs.
Yeah.
Then they play the
Spurs and they lose to the Blazers.
And they lose to the Blazers, right. They beat the Magic. I think they beat the Bulls. They played the Heat. They're splitting that. That's going to be a split.
But they play both at home, though. But let's split that, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a split. Right. And then they beat the Cavs. They beat the Timberwolves. And then the last one are the Knicks. I think we get that win at home. I think we get it. If we're, as long as we're still in competition, I think we get that win.
Okay.
I think we get that. All right. And then when you look at the Heat, now we're challenging ourselves, Andy. We got to remember who beat who. Right, who we said was going to beat who. So now we're challenging ourselves. They play the Lakers at home. That's tomorrow. That's tonight.
Yeah, I'm going to give them W because the Lakers, I feel the Lakers are on a long East Coast trip, and I think they're lacking players. So I'm going to give them a W here. Okay,
we give them a W there. And then they play the Trailblazers away.
The Suns and the Nuggets. I think all are going to be L's except the Timberwolves.
Right. Then they play the Timberwolves. They beat the Timberwolves. I think they lose to the Nets. They beat the Rockets. The Spurs. Sheesh. I think that
it's in San Antonio.
It's in San Antonio. Okay, we'll give it to the Spurs. They play the Hawks in Atlanta. I think they beat the Hawks. They split with the Bulls. They play the Bulls. It's a 1-1 with the Bulls. I think they play the Spurs at home. I think they beat the Spurs.
They beat the Cavs, definitely.
Beat the Cavs. The Hornets. I don't remember what we did there. It's away. It's in Charlotte. We'll give it to the Hornets, I guess.
Yeah, we gave it to the Hornets.
Right. The Mavs, I would say that they play the Mavs at home. They beat the Mavs. I think the Heat beat the Mavs. They beat the Timberwolves. They split with the Celtics. They lose to the Sixers, lose to the Bucks, and they beat the Pistons. I don't know if we want to go through every team, but, those are some teams that are currently around us. I don't know if you want to go down with the Pacers.
Let's go even the most important, Sim. Let's go through the Knicks.
Let's go through the Knicks. Let's look at the Knicks. All right, and we'll put that. And right now what we're doing is Andy is putting the wins or losses in a spreadsheet, and then he's going to pull it out, all right? So let's look at the Knicks. We'll go through that really quick. All right, so we lost to the Celtics. The Grizzlies. Did we beat the Grizzlies? We need your help, chat. Do we beat the Grizzlies at home tomorrow? They're 25. You know, they've got to win the record. They're 8th seed in the Western Conference.
I don't know. If it was to me, I think we got to split these games at least.
So
no, the Knicks are the Raptors. So if we're gonna lose one, we got to win the other one.
Right. It's tough. I don't know what this. I don't know where to go with it. I don't know if we win it or lose it. I'm gonna give us a win. I think the Raptors are gonna be a tough one. I'm gonna give us a win against the Grizzlies. So you saying we got to take a loss against the Raptors, or do you want to go vice versa? Take a loss versus the Grizzlies and a win versus the Raptors.
I think we're gonna get 2 out of the 3 home games.
2 out of the 3.
Yeah.
All right. So let's we'll give them the Grizzlies and the Raptors, and then we lose to the Lakers.
Okay.
All right. Let's give them that. I don't know who's going to be playing, but I don't know. So, but either way, we're taking 2 out of the 3. 2 out of the 3. Right. We got the Pelicans. I think they beat the Pelicans.
Yeah.
Play the Mavericks in Dallas. It's tough. I don't know.
We lost at home versus them.
We lost at home versus them. You know what? Let's go ahead and give it to the Mavericks.
Okay. And the Pelicans again.
I think we beat the Pelicans again. I think we'll beat them.
Yeah.
Then we beat the Hornets at home. I think we beat the Hawks. I think defensively they're not good. I think we beat the Hawks. Then we play the Raptors again at home. I think we beat the Raptors.
Okay.
I think we lose to the Suns. Not sure what to think about the Bulls.
Yeah, the Bulls got Vucevic now, right? So
yeah, it's hard to say. And this is going to be a tiebreaker as well against the Bulls. That's going to be a battle. We're playing them at home. I said let's give them a win since we're playing them home. I think we beat the Rockets.
We better.
All right. I think we lose to the Grizzlies. Now here's now here we go. Did we lose to the Grizzlies? Lose to the Nuggets and lose to the Suns.
And then the Clippers.
And then the Clippers. Probably lose to the Clippers. And then the Lakers. I don't know who's going to be playing at that point. It's hard to say.
Yeah, on these couple of last games, I think if the Lakers are already seeded in the playoffs and like at least in the top 6, I think they're gonna even rest those guys.
So we might get a win there. Let's take a win there.
Yeah. Okay.
And then the Spurs. I actually think we beat the Spurs this second time.
Okay.
I think we gave them a loss versus the Hornets in the second one because we said we were gonna split those, right?
Yeah.
And then we beat the Celtics.
So you say we're gonna beat the Celtics, right?
Yeah. All right. So out of those teams, where does that put us? We didn't do teams below. We didn't do the Indiana Pacers or the Chicago Bulls. We'll stop it there so it doesn't go too long. We're gonna open up the phone lines as well. So call us 516-405-2246. Where's that put us?
Well, the Hornets are going to finish the season with a record of 39-33. So they're going to be above all of the rest of the teams. Meanwhile, the Heat, the Celtics, and the Knicks, from our predictions, are going to have a record of 37-35. All 3 teams.
All 3 teams. So these tiebreakers come in. So we lose a tiebreaker to Miami, right? That last game of the season, if we win it like we say, then we'll win the tiebreaker versus Boston.
Yeah.
And who knows what happens with Indiana and Chicago and where they end up. But that puts us where? That puts us about what? 6 seed? 7 seed?
Well, we don't know how the Pacers are going to do because, from my prediction before that I did on my own, Pacers got a really, maybe not easy schedule, but they play most meaningless games because they play only the Hawks twice from the playoff, contenders for in the standings for the playoffs, right? From the teams that we were looking through, they play only the Nets once, the Sixers, and the Bucks. The rest are teams like Pistons, Magic, Thunder, Rockets, Clippers, Magic again, Grizzlies. They play also, the Jazz, the Spurs, the Trailblazers, but then again, Thunder, Wizards, Kings, Wizards, Cavs, Lakers, and Raptors. So when you look at, they might have the easiest schedule to go till the end of the season. And they're only 2 wins behind us because in the loss column, they're actually the same as the Knicks. So I think that the Pacers might really get into the mix. I don't know what's their injury, status, but I really think that the Pacers might try to mix and stir things up in the standings here.
Now, I know Miles Turner went out last night. I don't know what the status is, but I know he went out last night.
Yeah, so it's not like we like to hope for some guy to be out a little bit longer, but in this situation, I'll take it.
Right. And by the way, we again, as far as the Pacers in Chicago, we won the season series against the Pacers. We are currently tied with Chicago, so the next time we play Chicago, that'd be for the season series. The next time we play Boston, that'll be for the season series. Charlotte, we have 2 games against them to see if we can win the season series. And then against Miami, we lost the season series 0-3. And they're gonna, they're definitely gonna come into play. So, tough stretch, man. Tough stretch. Let's see what Isaiah and Guillermo, what's on their mind. You pretty much know what's on their mind, but anyway, while we're waiting for them guys, let's get to a phone call. Caller, you live. What's poppin'?
What's up, Sam?
What's going on with you?
From CT. I see you guys going over the last 20 games, but I just wanted to give a shout out to you, man. Since this pandemic started, I've been in the house. You guys been getting me souped up for these Knicks games, trying to get this last semester through school going. It's been a treat, man. You guys are doing something big over there.
Hey, appreciate it, man. And hey, proud of you, bro, for making it through school, doing your thing in school. We appreciate that. Keep working, man. Keep doing what you got to do. You know what I'm saying?
You guys too, man. I'm souped up. I feel like these last 20 games, we could definitely pull some of these out. I can't wait to see them on Sunday. I'm going to see them in person against the Raptors.
Okay.
Knicks tape for life.
Okay. Hey, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a battle. We'll see what they can do, man. They've been bouncing back all season long. We'll see if they can continue to do that.
All right, man. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you, bro. All right. What's going on, fellas?
What's up, Sim? How you doing, Sim?
I'm good. I'm always good, bro. I'm always good.
This guy tried to preface this whole thing. Look, Sim, it's okay, man. You talked about the prophecies and stuff. It's okay, Sim, to say when I'm right. It's perfectly fine.
What's okay?
I showed you guys the door. You guys didn't want to follow when I told you, and again, I agree with you. What the Knicks need to do to put ourselves in the best position. I agree with you 1,000%. But when we talked about the talent on this team, that this is gonna come back. No, I'm not killing anybody. I'm just saying we have overachieved with this team. We didn't get talent to really supplement anybody or complement anybody, whatever. But when you run into some of these teams who are going to get healthier, right? These teams who have playoff pedigree, right? For instance, yesterday, right? They have 2 guys who can close at a moment's notice. And you made a great point that actually proves my point. The fact that these past, I don't know how many games, like 20, you always need to have RJ or Randall out there because the guys, we just don't have talent. In the second rotation or guys off the bench, right? So that's just an unfortunate thing. And even Randall and RJ being talented players, they're going to tire out. It's diminishing returns unless they get some type of rest. Randall right now is fatigued. He's not getting lift on his shot. His touch is off. RJ had a good shooting night, but again, in the paint, he's not doing, he's missing shots. So that's the thing about it. The Celtics come in, even with all the guys hurt, they could put guys in to basically kind of stop us a little bit with guys like Tristan Thompson, and then bring their closers back into the game. You know what I mean? So it's just
listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not afraid of the Celtics at all.
No, it's not.
If the Knicks played the Celtics, I would not be afraid. We made some mental mistakes last night. Right down the stretch, we were tied within 30 seconds or however much time. Not afraid of the Celtics at all. I don't think they're a good team. I don't think they're a great team. I'm not afraid of them.
They're not I still think that duo or their core players are talented, but again, they're underachieving this year. But again, you're talking about. Are they? Kemba, Marcus Smart, Tatum, and Brown. They have playoff pedigree. Like we looking at this year.
I understand that they have playoff pedigree, right? But they've also lost some key players from their team.
Agreed.
Right? They've lost some key. Hold up. We talked about this last night, Isaiah. Now. Right, we lost. They lost some key players on their team, and I think people aren't really, taking that into consideration. So, I think the question going on from here is: are they really underachieving, or is this who they are with some of the pieces that they lost?
Did they lose anybody?
They lost Gordon Hayward.
Go ahead, but he was out for most of last year anyway, right?
He played a good portion of the season. He missed some.
And they actually look better without him. That's why Brad Stevens so comfortable. I'm going to let him go. Yes, go look at the numbers.
Listen. They're not good, right? Well, they're good, but they're not great right now. Okay, they're not great right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm not afraid of them. I'm not afraid. Listen, our two guys matched off with their two guys. It was their ancillary parts that actually won in the basketball game.
At the end of the game, Sim, they had two. Again, this is what I'm saying. Is like I think sometimes we get caught up with what the Knicks are doing.
But was it not tied? Was it not tied? And who scored for them? It was one of their ancillary players. No,
Marcus Smart.
Who scored the game that gave them the lead?
Right,
they gave them the lead for good.
Who also brought them back with almost ease, where Jaylen Brown was driving on RJ with no issue.
But who brought us back when we were down 7 or 8 with just about 4 minutes to go?
RJ was hitting his threes.
Okay, but what I'm saying is our two guys matched off with their two guys. It was ancillary parts. It was ancillary parts. Ancillary parts. Reggie Bullock made a bad defensive decision. Marcus Smart hit a good shot. Ancillary parts that won them the basketball game.
Go ahead.
Because as much as you say that their guys brought them back, so did our guys bring us back.
Yeah, I think we have a very well-coached team. But you're talking about a team in Brad seems those guys who've not been healthy for most of the season. And when they're healthy,
and neither have we.
Because they have two closers. They got two closers.
Okay, but what I'm saying is you're totally glossing over the fact because you want to say that they have two guys that when we played last night, our two guys matched off with their two most talented guys. Did they not?
No, not really. It was 1.5.
Okay.
Because Randall played bad.
But did they match off? We were tied right there, and it was ancillary parts on both teams that lost us the game and won them the game. Ancillary parts. Now, of course, down the stretch, we had to foul them, right? So, so Jaylen Brown was able to knock down some free throws and get his point total a little bit higher. Right? Mm-hmm. But just as they had two guys that got them back in the game, we had guys that got us back in the game. Because although Randall did not play well and shoot well, he had a stretch where he did shoot well. He had a stretch in the game where he helped to extend the lead or to get us a lead. And RJ did as well.
But here's the thing, though. Even with their...
Hold on, because I think you're missing a very good point that Gimel even said was that, Jason Tatum missed 16 games, bro. He missed 16 games because of COVID.
Bro, you know what? Listen. We keep on going back to this. We keep on going back to it. I get it. I know, but so has a bunch of teams in the NBA have done the same exact thing, including the New York Knicks.
I just want to say it's not even just the Celtics. Is that you're gonna see a stretch of these games. And granted, I think that people think I think this all my objectives for the season already met development, culture, all that stuff. I'm happy with the season. I may get mad at it because you don't want to see a loss. Who wants to see a loss? But for the most part, when we're talking about these top teams, forget even the Celtics. Like you guys just glossed over and said, not glossed, but you guys said the Grizzlies, right? The Grizzlies are number 2 in offensive rebounding, number 10 in defensive rebounding. They got Valanciunas, who's a much improved player. They got John Moran coming back. Again, I know he's not having the best season. He was hurt this season. They got guys, and they don't shoot a lot of threes. They still got guys who hurt on the outside. Dylan Brooks had 25 points again.
Hold up. The thing is, we weren't breaking down the Knicks versus Memphis. That wasn't the point of this show.
It's not just. I'm talking about when you see some of these teams that are just right now they have more talent. Like we're saying, oh, we got to win here. I'm just saying. I think sometimes we're underestimating some of these teams because again, the Knicks are very well coached. Okay, but there's only so much coaching could get you to, especially when you only have really.
I get. We get all of that. We get all of that. The point of this show was with the team that we have, it's not changing. So what is the point in talking about, we need this guy or that guy, or we don't have this or that? I wasn't saying that. I just want you to admit that I was right. That was it. It's not changing. We have 20 games left. It's not changing. So I don't understand what your point is.
No, you're not letting me say a point. All my point was to say that I was right when I was saying that we didn't have talent before, and now that you're saying basically that we don't have much talent.
Nobody. No. Hold up. Nobody ever said we had top talent.
No, I didn't say top talent. No, I just said talent relative to the other teams.
No one ever said we had top talent. Nobody ever.
I said talent relative to the other teams.
But listen, hold up. We had a whole discussion about what talent is. But I continued to say to you, nobody is saying that we have top talent in the NBA. But I'm not going to say that we have no talent. You can go back and look at it. So, you can say what it is that you want and that you made all these predictions about this and that. That's cool.
I didn't say any predictions. All I'm saying, it wasn't necessarily you, Sim. You had that army here. Suit to Stephanie, suit to Divine, suit to Tony Crow. I'm not talking. It's just fun and all. But you stood quiet. But like, but to the other teams, I'm like, dogs. If you watch these other teams, again, there's a point. You can have talent and not be good like the Hawks were, but now the Hawks are actually, I think, in a better position than us, right? With better coach with Nate McMillan. But again, when you look at the rest of the teams, the Knicks, we've been very fortunate in some spots. And again, we're very fortunate we have good coaching, which I don't say fortunate, but lucky or whatever. It's good that we have good coaching. That's only going to stretch you so far. So a lot of these games, Lakers, I think we could beat just if LeBron, AD, Drummond aren't there. I think they're 4 of the last 11 or something like that, or 5 of the last, something like that. I don't know what it is. But some of these other teams who are going to get healthier and get their guys playing, and any team that has any decent outside shooting, because of our defensive principles, we sell out on protecting the paint. So I see that we're saying, oh, we could beat these guys. Look at who some of their personnel are. Desmond Bane and Dylan Brooks, they'll be on the perimeter probably all night against the Grizzlies. You have Valanciunas down low, and you have John Moran who's going to break out defense.
I don't think that when me and Andy went down, I think we were pretty objective about who we could or could not beat.
Yeah, what was the record? What's the record?
For the end of the season?
Yeah.
2 games, let me check. 2 games about 500, 37 and 35. I think we're going to do a little bit worse, though. But, we could. Yeah, we could. It's always we can go on a stretch.
I think 33, 34 probably.
30. How are you going to be 33 and 34?
Not 72.
You can't be 33 and 34.
I'm saying 30 wins. 33 wins or 34 wins. That's what I see. I see it's winning. We can win 9 more games.
I mean, the thing, about the team is, we talk about, at some point, who knows, the Lakers are going to get healthy. We don't know when we play them during the end of the season, if that's going to be, if they're already in the playoffs, if they're resting their guys, that's going to begin. We'll see what happens there. A lot of these teams, they're there. They got their guys. We're down to the final 20. A lot of the teams, they got them, and we're going to see them. My thing, when I look at this team and the way that we've been able to play against a lot of teams, some of it doesn't just come down to talent. A lot of it, comes down to their execution. in the fourth. Now, sometimes that execution does come down to talent, that somebody just doesn't have the ability to do this and do that. But when you have a team that's taking 13, 14-point leads, having a lead in the fourth quarter, it's coming down to mental mistakes. A lot of it's coming down to mental mistakes. Is it not? Obviously, we were getting out-rebounded all last night and had a chance to win. Mental mistakes lost us the game.
I agree with you. So, for instance, right, here's to your point. Yesterday, your boy Robert Langford, whatever, had 4 offensive rebounds, but he had 3 of them account in the first half that led to 9 points, right? A lot of sometimes that's just hustle, whatnot. But if you're talking about Taj, what's your boy? Known so well. Even in the what was this team we just lost? The Nets game. Miranda, we don't have, outside of Mitch, we really don't have any real offensive rebounding presence. All our offensive numbers, points per putback, points, that stuff went down. So again, it still comes down to part of that is talent. Like when we talk about execution, it's one thing if you have put like this. This how I don't think it's necessarily execution, because we actually, if you look at this team, even what Anthony Edwards said, we have guys who he said we don't have world beaters on defense, but as a team as a whole, we play better. But at some point, if guys literally, they can't get past some guy or whatever, sometimes it just comes down to even on the mental side, he's not smart. For instance, Dennis Rodman is one of the greatest rebounders, not because of his physical prowess, but for the fact that every time a shot went up, he literally knew, okay, I know that this guy shoots like this. I know what the shot's going to be. That's an ability.
Now, I get that. I get that. But despite the rebounding last night, did we have a chance to win that game?
Of course. Oh, yeah, we did.
And every game that we've played since the playoff break, despite what other teams may or may not have, we had a chance to win, except for maybe the Miami Heat game, which we had a 13, 14-point lead. But in the fourth quarter, it really wasn't, they kind of took over that game there, right? But we've been in position to win. But we've made a lot of mental mistakes down the stretch.
But I also think that's a tribute to, one, the mental fortitude plus the talent. Like, when it comes to the fourth quarter and crunch time, the talent oversees all those. I mean, look at the games that we.
I don't know if the talent. I think the talent oversees normally during the stretch of the game. The fourth quarter comes down to making mental, making those decisions.
But that's also okay. So I can't go game by game. Like if you bring up the games that we had close games, maybe you could break it down. So I agree to some extent, but after a while, I mean, it still comes down. Because think about this: Kyrie Irving had 40, and in the other game, him and Harden killed us, right? And we could sit and talk about execution, right? Like it's like, all right, well, if you put RJ Barrett in that same situation, is it him not executing right? Well, no, you put the ball in his hands, and he's just not that type of player yet. Kyrie Irving is, and a lot of that is talent. So it's like, even with these close games, it's actually a compliment to Tom Thibodeau that he has a team who you have to play literally your so-called best 2 players most of the game. They're getting crazy minutes, and they're still with a bunch of role players. Let's be honest, most of our starting lineup is a bunch of role players. Mitch is hurt. I'm not talking about Mitch. And then even your bench, you have 2 first-rounders who literally can't play. It's actually a compliment to say he's got this team to be competitive, that we're playing some of these top teams. For instance, the Jazz game were up by 15, 16, or whatever we lost or whatever. I just watched the Jazz yesterday. Say what you want. That team is, I wouldn't say they're stacked, but that is a highly coached, fairly talented team. And for us to even be up there with them, that's a compliment. So it's just a simple fact that they got closers, they got guys who can execute because they're talented. It's not because these guys are getting lost.
I have no argument that other teams have more talent than us. But in order to coach a team to be able to win some games or even take a lead in the game, you've got to have some extent of talent. It doesn't mean that you can't have more, that you don't need more. But to some extent, you've got to have something there. You know what I'm saying? And then you've got to have the coaching, and you also got to have the development of your team. Your team has to learn how to be together on one accord in certain type of situations. And, of course, that's not always there. Last night, like I said, in the fourth quarter, it was, to me, it looked like there were some bad defensive communication mix-up. Everybody wasn't on the same page. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So just because, a team has one level of talent doesn't mean they don't have any. And of course, you can always get better. And when we talk about people playing, James Harden is, I think, number 1 or number 2 in the league in minutes. Go ahead, Andy. You were going to say something.
No, I just wanted to say, because I understand Guillermo's every time this talent topic. I just think he attributes too much to the talent aspect for NBA players as far as that goes. Because I think Guillermo is saying that, and I'm not talking about Knicks comparing to anyone else. I just think that Guillermo would pick a guy that's talented but has 2 left feet instead of a guy that's, for example, a hard-working player on the court with a little bit less talent.
You're 1,000,000,000% wrong, because I was a Devin Vassell fan. I wasn't an Obi fan.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, because from what I hear from you, you're always talking about that you rather have talent.
No. I've never said. I don't know why I said I'd rather have talent. All I'm saying is that with the Knicks team is that the NBA is a talent league. You can get, again, because the Knicks have a bunch of 1 year, many guys, role players who are playing a prominent role on this team. There's only a limit that you can go. I think that the coaching has been, for the most part, outside of rotations, things of that nature, has been fantastic, given what Tom Thibodeau has had. So there's really only a ceiling you can get to. If you want to talk about the guys I've wanted, I didn't want Kevin Knox. I wanted Mikal Bridges from Villanova. Well-coached, can shoot threes, defense. Very boring player, very fundamental player. I wanted I did want John Morant, because I think he's a crazy talent. But no, I like guys who have fundamentals. I like it. I wasn't a Frank. Frank was a shooting guard with Strasburg. Came on. I don't want those play. I'm not one of those guys. So it's not, when you get to the higher level of the NBA, yes, coaching matters. I agree. But when you talk, and I'm not saying the Knicks are going to get there, but when you talk about the upper echelon, there's a reason why certain teams have dynasties and keep winning. And a lot of it has to do with talent. And I'm not saying it's the only thing, right? That's why some years you get the Pistons winning 1 year. It's like, holy crap, how the hell they win? You know what I mean? Or you have even the Spurs. Even the Spurs, you could say, had talent. People just sleep on because they have great coaching, but they had talent as well, too. So all I'm just saying is that the Knicks, I think, have just reached a limit, because you have guys like Bullocks and Burks. Let's be honest. If they're on any other team, now Burks is not starting per se, but he has a lot of ball handling duties in late in games, because Elfrid Payton is just not that type of point guard. And that's fine. He's probably not getting that same type of usage on other teams. Bullock is probably not a starting wing for most NBA, especially the playoff teams. So there's only a limit you go to. And what Sim was talking about with guys making mistakes, and you could be very talented on defense too. Let's not get that twisted. So when you talk about a guy like Bullocks, even the mental aspect, right, of him getting caught, if he keeps getting caught, maybe that's not a coaching thing. Maybe that's he just physiologically, his body and mind don't meet up, coordination, whatever it may be, to get around a pick properly or do this and do that properly. Well, and that's also talent. If you gave me Tony Allen's one of the best defensive players of all time. Tony Allen is probably not making the same mistakes. I know doesn't play same position. But the
decision that what Bullock did last night, the decision he made really had nothing to do with talent. The decision he made last night, it was just, I'm going to go over to double team Jason Tatum and leave my man open, right? And he normally doesn't make those decisions. I'm not disagreeing with you that the Knicks need more talent. I'm not disagreeing there. Despite everything, the Knicks are in the midst of a playoff push that we haven't seen since 2013. Obviously, coaching has a lot to do with it. But, it's just in my opinion, in order to be at least a 500 team or somewhere around that vicinity, you've got to have some level. Coaching, is going to get you, is going to get you. Look, Tom Thibodeau, you can have great coaches and their teams have some talent and they're not good. You know what I'm saying? So coaching will take you someplace, but I think to at least get to a certain level, you got to have something there. Do you need more? Of course you need more. You know what I'm saying? Every team in the league is always going to need more. So do we need more to improve and get better? Yeah, obviously. Alec Burks is, on and off. Reggie Bullock is on and off. You know what I'm saying? And those guys are been inconsistent throughout their career. They continue to be that way. And you've got to improve on that and get better. You know what I'm saying? So you got to add more people to do that. But still, I think to get to, to at least be 500, there's a certain level that you got to have. And, we'll see if they can bounce back and get there. They've been right there in these games. And if they can make some better decisions, we'll see what they can do. They're going to have a chance I think coming down the stretch, look, I don't foresee many teams, if any, blowing the Knicks out. Maybe the Nuggets blow us out down the stretch, a team like that. Maybe the Suns. I don't know. I don't think we've played the Suns yet. Maybe the Suns.
We haven't played the Suns yet.
Right? But I think most teams, we can stand and fight tooth and nail down to the end. Can we make those decisions to pull some of those games out? And also, you know, what we're going through right now is part of a growing and building process of a team. You know, like Isaiah told me the other night, when we has a baby, if that baby don't come right out and run across the room, he's going back to the draft and get a new baby.
There we go.
That's what he told me, y'all. That's what he told me the other night. Because I was telling him, I was like, Isaiah, when you have a baby, they might, you know, you stand them up to walk across the room. They might take a couple steps and fall. Pretty soon, they walk a little bit longer. They might still fall. They walk a little bit longer without falling. Next time they walk, they about to fall, but they catch themselves and balance. You're like, oh, snap. Isaiah was like, nah, if my baby don't come out and run across the room, I'm sending him back. I'm going back to the draft. I don't know, y'all. That's what he told me.
Listen.
Go ahead, Isaiah.
Oh, but my bad.
First of all,
ain't that what you told me? Ain't that what you told me?
My baby's going to be a boss. And
ain't that what you told me?
Whether my baby a boy or girl is going to kick every other baby's ass. I know that much.
What?
I know that much. My baby's going to be a dog. No, but listen, man. Look, right. I think a lot of us, for the most part, understand that this is the first year to rebuild. There's a lot of growing pains. It's a lot of things that frustrate us, especially these last 10 games. It's probably been the most frustrated we have all been since 2013. You know, so it's just...
No, I've been more frustrated than this, trust me.
Well, yeah.
I've been way more frustrated than this because I would much rather be here than, you know, got 12 wins on the season.
Hey, 12 wins get you Jalen Suggs. But, it's just, you know, I think we all just want this team to do good. And, you know, we all have our own beliefs about what we believe is the best way of course of action how the Knicks can do good. Because I think most of us want to make the playoffs. You know, there's some people that want to, you know. Yes, I do. See, why?
Hey, G-Man for life just said, he just laughed and said, you didn't answer the question. He didn't answer the question, G-Man. Go ahead.
You see, that's what I don't like, Sim. You always do it. I do want to. First of all, I've been talking about the playoffs this whole year. I said I didn't want to take. You can find the video. You always find the videos of me doing funny stuff. Find the videos of me saying,
"Oh wait, you said you was going back and find a whole bunch of stuff. You didn't find it yet, so."
I'm searching, but nah, man, we were.
But I can't find it.
Andy, I'm gonna find you too, Andy. I'm gonna find you too.
Last 20 games, ladies and gentlemen. Last 20 games. It's gonna be rough because 17 of those 20 games are teams that are fighting for a playoff spot. It's gonna be battle. You know, they better come to each game with their army fatigues on, man.
Hey Sim, I have some suggestions for what the Knicks could do a little bit better.
Right.
One thing a few things, right? So I would love for them, because they do it for everybody else. I would love for them to use the double screen for Obi a little bit more, so get that little mid-range shot. I don't like the fact that they kind of go away from him after he gets hot. But again, you know, he's a confidence guy right now. His outside shot is here and there, but they ran that play. I think it was against the Pistons. He ran behind two screens after, I think it was IQ got him the ball. And it was a really solid shot, and no one was near him. You know what I mean? Another thing I think they could do is that they need to play IQ a little bit more off the ball. I don't like the ball being in his hands way too much, especially where he catches it from deep and tries to shoot these, you know, circus shots. If they have him more closer to the wing, if they have him in the corner, he's shooting at the ball. Before these past two games, he's shooting like 43% off the ball, right? Which is actually pretty damn excellent. Off the ball threes, right?
From three.
Right, catch and shoot off the ball threes, right? From three, which is good. Then his 3-point percentage goes down once he has the ball in his hands, like 31%, something like that, which is stupid, right? So I think that, again, but the thing about it is that you have to have a healthy Derrick Rose. And a lot of times you watch this game, Derrick Rose not on the ball as much as he should be. he's always like drifting away, or someone's like, why is someone else having the ball in his hands when Derrick Rose should literally have the ball in his hands? He splits the defense fairly well, or relatively well compared to anybody else on our team, and kick it out. And another thing, Julius Randle needs to play in the post. I know he might be a little bit hurt or whatnot, but him trying to do the Brahma Bowl, especially when his shot is not going on and when he doesn't have his hair braided, is just, he needs to play a little bit more of an uglier game and actually draw contact. And then one last thing, he needs to play a little bit more pick and roll Randall. You know what I mean? Hinton Murphy, I'm not sure, he's pointed this out many times. And if you watch,
you mean RJ?
Pick and roll. I'm sorry. Pick and roll. Well, RJ and Randall need to run the pick and roll where Randall actually rolls to the basket. Many times Randall kind of like lags out and pops out, and then maybe has a delayed move. But he's a Brahma Bull. Now, granted, I don't know if he's hurt or whatnot, but if he is healthy, he's such a physical specimen. And I'm pretty sure that compared to last year, he's just not doing as much this year. But his physicality just creates issues for anybody down low. And for some reason, he's just not being as physical, especially early in games. We could draw the fouls, slow the tempo up, get guys some breathing room and stuff, or some breathing time, whatnot. It's just like, I don't know. It's just, those are things I would do a little bit more just to get this team a little bit more impactful. And I know Alfred Payne, again, the last 2 games, he's actually been in the fourth quarter. He scored 4 points at the game. He scored 2 last game. But again, the spacing thing, you know what I mean? You have to have quickly in there just to be a threat from outside. Just from the wing, from the corner, just to be that threat. So you allow RJ and Randall a little bit more space driving to the basket. Many times he's out there, many times, they're dribbling, they'll penetrate, and they'll look up, and it's like, damn, I can't pass there. And they kind of reset they picked up the dribble, and now they're stuck. So no offense to Payton.
It's like the only thing with that is I've been watching some of the trends of the games and how things go. And it's just weird with this team. You can have the starters come out and jump out to a 10-point lead, and then the subs come in and they'll lose it. And then in the second half, the starters come out and go down 8, and then the subs will come in and get it back. It's weird the way it works with this team sometimes, and who works well with who. I still think for the most part, the first group that he puts out there, although I thought that he was gonna, because the first half of the Celtics game, maybe all of his turnovers came in the first half. I don't know. I didn't really check. But, Payton was, falling down in the paint, turning the ball over. I thought he was going to come in with rolls to start the second half. He didn't. He didn't come in with rolls. Payton came out at the beginning of the second half and played well. But, things, everything we think is one way. Right, and then quickly comes in. He said, "Well, he's going to spread the floor," but then he comes in and doesn't spread the floor.
Also,
you know what I'm saying?
I wanted to say,
and I think part of the reason when we talk about the spreading the floor thing, part of the reason why you see Payton having the ball in his hands sometimes, or a lot, is because that does then allow you to spread the floor. Because the only way that quickly spreads the floor is if he's off the ball. He doesn't spread the floor if he has the ball in his hands. Right. And so if Payton has the ball in his hands, it allows the floor to be a little bit more spread. And then if you have Payton be on the same side as the person, like say a Randall, whatever, and he's looking to get the ball to the other side, or if RJ is looking to penetrate down the left side of the floor, Payton is on the same side as RJ, that leaves the opposite side of the floor open. I think when Quickly is in the game and he has the ball in his hands and he's looking to create, it takes away from his ability to space the floor because he has the ball in his hands. You know what I'm saying? And like when Payton, the reason why Payton having the ball in his hands does help to space the floor is because defenders, for whatever reason, they don't fall back off of him. He makes that mid-range jump shot just enough where they won't fall back off of him. Right? I mean, have you ever seen a defender, when he has the ball in his hands, just step back?
Yeah,
no.
A few times. Yeah,
it really does. It really does not happen that way where they just step back, like they step back from Ben Simmons. No.
Well, no, but they still give them space, and then they go for the rebound.
If not, he wouldn't take them to the basket.
I'm more than certain I've seen games where Elfrid Payton steps for mid-range.
Let's pay attention to it. When Elfrid Payton has the ball in his hands, you're telling me that the defender takes 5 feet, steps 5 feet off of him.
It's not that deliberate, but I've seen times where Elfrid Payton has drove and the guy, instead of trying to close out, is literally circling to the basket for the rebound.
I'm not talking about that. That's not what I'm talking about. That's not what I'm talking about. When he has the ball in his hands, he hasn't dribbled yet. He has the ball in his hands. Or maybe he is taking the dribble. The defender plays him. The defender defends him. He's not 5 feet off of Elfrid Payton.
Oh, you mean like, but the same thing happens with Ben Simmons. They do the same thing with Ben Simmons.
But
listen what I'm saying. Listen what I'm saying, though. He has the ball in his hands. The defender is on him. I can see it. The defender is, Elfrid Payton has the ball at the top of the key, and the defender is at the foul line. I can see that. But that doesn't happen. He has the ball in his hands, and the defender is on him. That helps because he can't shoot the ball. When he has the ball in his hands, the defender is on him, taking somebody away from the paint. So that guys, like you've been seeing lately, RJ Barrett's coming off of someone sets a down screen, he comes off and he curls to the basket, and Elfrid Payton gets him on that curl. Why can he do that? Because the defender is on Elfrid Payton. Reggie Bullock, Julius Randle, those guys can help to spread the floor out because they can shoot the three. And so it does open it up so that RJ Barrett can curl and Elfrid Payton find him. If you watch, it's been happening 2 or 3 times, maybe 4 times a game, where he's curling and Elfrid Payton finds him on the curl.
Yes, at times he has sloppy dribbles. So I mean, I'm also going to bank on playing up on him because he's just a sloppy player.
All I'm doing is explaining how him being on the floor, you can still spread the floor. It's not about
if someone else has the ball in their hands and he plays off of that, they don't pass to him. The Wolves game.
Bro, what I'm saying to you is the reason why you see the ball in his hands a lot is because that's how they can spread the floor when he's not out there and try to find cutters or slashers or put him on the same side as the ball. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know. Well, first of all, our offense doesn't have crazy off-ball movement for the first part. So here's the thing about Elfrid Payton. A lot of our action is predicated off of the pick and roll and then movement from there. So you still want to get up on Elfrid Payton to disrupt that against the Knicks. So that's the reason why a lot of these guys play up on him. Because, for instance, if that was a case, if I'm playing against, like, if it's LeBron versus the Spurs and was it 13, 14, whenever he played, right? I mean, they'll do it all the time if we didn't have pick and roll action. If literally it's like the words where guys moving around away from the ball, then that's different. But we have so much action on the ball, you still have to get, because he's going to sit there and use the pick and get around it. So you're trying to disrupt that.
I get it. I get it.
But even when he has the ball in his hands and he's stuck, and because again, Elfrid Payton, no offense to him, I think he's a low IQ point guard. Many times he's not looking up for the guys unless he calls a pick and roll, and then he sees a Randall or
I'm not defending. All I'm doing is explaining how when he's in the game, they can use him to still have some space on the floor. That's it. That's it. That's it. There are ways that you can do it. I've done it when you don't have a guy who can shoot the ball. If I want RJ to drive left, I put Reggie Bullock in the right corner, in the left corner, and have Elfrid Payton away from RJ. I mean, on the same side as RJ. So that RJ can drive to the left. So Elfrid Payton's on the right side of RJ. We know RJ is going to drive to the left. Reggie Bullock is on the left side. And maybe another shooter, Julius Randle, is also on the left side. So that way, when those guys on the left side commit, he can kick it out.
But isn't it weird how Elfrid Payton is always on the wrong side? He's always on the side where after
well, you know drive, what? I mean, let's put it like this. You know, that group together, you know, is the number 1 ranked group that the Knicks have.
I checked on Basketball Reference when you said that. So field goal percentage is not, but I think 3-point shooting for some reason he is one of them.
Yes,
right?
he's in the lineup for the. I mean, you know, obviously it's a lower percentage of. I'm talking about overall ranking. Him, Mitchell Robinson, Julius Randle, RJ Barrett, Reggie Bullock. Overall ranking for all the lineups that the Knicks put on the floor. He's in it. He's in the top 3.
Well, I'm just saying this, man. If you watch these games, it's tough. Even, and I know what you're saying with him with the ball in his hands. You know, maybe that's a benefit that he spaces it out a little bit or spaces it out or whatever. But many times when you talk about RJ and Randall, because Payton is not obviously he's not the best player on the team. A lot of times the ball is in their hands, so he ends up having to be an off-ball guy. I know what you're saying. I'm just saying the frequency of that happening many times is RJ or many times is Randall. And you know what Randall wants to do? Get into the paint. Unless he's, taking that little baseline, floating, fadeaway jump or whatever he does. Many times he's in the post and he's looking to kick out of somebody. And many times it's Elfrid Payton. And he hurts you in that regards. Go back to the Timberwolves game after the pick and roll. We broke it down after Burks, he fumbled the ball. Jalen Wells still feeding in, and Burks is like, I ain't gonna pass it. Payton pass it out, and they missed a shot, or it ended up being a missed shot. So, Elfrid Payton, I understand what you're saying, but in fourth quarters, close games, I'd go with quickly. If you have the ball in Burks and RJ's hands, and you're ready to run oodles of pick and roll anyway, I'd rather have the ball in their hands and have quickly as a threat somewhere in the court.
But you know what? You know what? The last few games, what's been happening? You go down the stretch, you get to about 3 minutes, and you got Derrick Rose, and we still are not leading. We're still not leading. We're still not scoring. Right? We've been going down the stretch. We get to 3 minutes left, and we're still not scoring the basketball. But my point was it wasn't to defend Payton. My point was about spacing. And when you have quickly with the ball in his hands, he doesn't space the floor when he has the ball in his hands.
I agree. Now, I don't want – that's what I said. I want quickly to play more off the ball. If you have the ball in Burks and RJ's hands anyway, you run the high pick and roll with Taj, whatever, have Randall near, one of the blocks, whatever, and then have RJ use a pick and roll and kick it out. I mean, go back to the Pacers game. RJ Barrett used that pick and roll. One of the three that Randall hit was RJ using the pick and roll, getting deep into the paint, kicking out to Randall. That's an effective play. It could have been Randall, could have been Quickly, probably could have been Burks now, with his better shooting. But yeah, I don't want Quickly with the ball in his hand late in the game. But
that was my point. The whole point, and I don't know where you took it or what you thought I was about to say, but that was my whole point in talking about spacing and how, like, for Elfrid Payton being on the floor, the way to create space is for him to have the ball in his hands. Where quickly you don't want him to have the ball in his hands because then it doesn't create space. That was my whole point.
No, but you try to make the bad comparison that they back off more of a Ben Simmons when he's dribbling. He's dribbling the ball.
No, it was because we started getting into a back and forth because you wasn't listening to what I was saying.
This is not that deep.
No, it's not. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying right now? It doesn't have to be.
I'm sorry, Sim. Go ahead,
it doesn't have to be that deep. All I was doing, ladies and gentlemen, is trying to point out that when Elfrid Payton is on the floor, the reason why you see the ball in his hands is because with him having the ball in his hands and the defender on him, it opens up the floor because he can't shoot. And with Quickly, you don't want to have the ball in his hands because if he has the ball in his hands, it negates his ability to spread the floor because he can shoot. That's all I was getting at.
Okay.
That's it. It was no deeper than that. And pointing out a way that they use each player and why, and actually agreeing with you about Quickly and that you don't want to have the ball in his hands.
And
that's what it was all about.
No one disagrees with you on that.
That's what it was all about.
Disagree with you on that.
No, I'm saying that's what it was all about. But sometimes you got to let me finish saying what I'm saying so I can get to what I'm trying to say. Because I like to get into the nuances and the details of it so that you get the full explanation and everyone that's listening leaves with just a little bit of a tidbit of basketball knowledge.
All right. So the same way you say Isaiah needs to get to the point, next time just get to the point because when you start talking about
do that,
Ben Simmons, this is like
no. You started to come and say ba 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 ba.
No.
That's when
I didn't say you said. Listen. That they back off of Elfrid Payton when he. They don't back off him like they do Ben Simmons.
No. Listen, but see, that's where you missed. You're making all these faces. This is where you missed what I'm talking about. I was explaining, and then you started to go against what I was saying, and then that's when I said, "Do you see players back up off of him?" Because I was trying to explain that players stay up close to him. But you jumped in and started saying, no, da. And I was trying to help you understand that players stay close to him. That was the only reason that I brought Ben Simmons into it. If I would have been able to finish, I was getting to the point that a way that you can spread the floor with Elfrid Payton is by having the ball in his hands. And with Quickly, you don't want the ball in his hands. That's all that I was getting to.
Hey, can I say something?
My
Someone
next
said
thing,
nothing but Alfred.
And then the next thing that I wanted to bring up was one of the reasons that Randall is currently having some issues in the post, I feel, because players are taking smaller defenders and putting them on Randall. Right? You've seen Marcus Smart You see Kyrie Irving, and Randall is having a problem with those guys because he doesn't want to create an offensive foul. And what does this do? This allows longer players to be in the passing lanes. So if you have Marcus Smart, who is strong, and he's guarding Julius Randle. You also had the light-skinned dude guarding Julius Randle, who is a smaller guard as well. Now you got Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, their 6'8" center, I forgot his name. You got those guys that can now play the passing lanes because the smallest guy on the floor is guarding Julius Randle. And it's been a problem the last couple of games. Oh, let me get to Isaiah, then go ahead, Andy.
Hey, what's going on, guys? First of all, I just wanted to say we have almost 300 people. Can we get them likes up?
Yeah, man, hit the likes.
Hit the likes up, please. I love arguing. I love the argument. This feels good, man. It feels real good. I did want to say,
I don't like the argument.
One thing.
It's not even an argument. I don't know why people say
it's a debate. It's a debate. You said it's an argument. I say it's a debate.
Yeah, it's like there's no animosity or nothing. This is.
Can y'all both lower your tones, man?
This is just the way that we do. This how it goes sometimes. We're not mad at each other, Isaiah. We just having a conversation. Go ahead, man.
The funniest thing, though, I will say, someone said this is nothing but Elford. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny.
Who said that?
There was a point I wanted to say, though, that you said earlier about the third score. And what I put it in the chat, though, I do believe that, listen, Gilmore said earlier, Bullock, Burks, all these guys are journeymen, inconsistent. You said that too. I believe that the way we do third score, which we've been doing all year, is we got to do it by committee. And when we do it by committee, we have to do it, to me, which is through ball movement. If we could get just a little bit more ball movement, guys cutting, guys, moving around the basket, not just standing around when Randall has the ball and just watching them just, dribble and pass it out. If we get guys moving, we get RJ cutting, because RJ's a cutter too. I think Bullock can be a cutter. I think we can actually do it by that, and we get some guys easy points, because we're not gonna get a consistent 15-point score on this team for the last 20 games. It's just not gonna happen.
Yeah, you're probably right about that.
D-Rose not gonna do it. Sorry, I know people want D-Rose to do it, but look, he hasn't been right since COVID. And then we all know Burks and Bullock, we go high. We literally seen Burks score 20 points in like 4 games straight, and now he's giving us.
This all we need. We need Burks to score 20 points for 4 games straight. Then we need Reggie Bullock to score 20 points for 4 games straight. Then we need IQ to score 20 points for 4 games straight. That's 12 of them right there.
Yo, but Sim, see, I would totally love that, but listen, I'm gonna say this though, right? If we could get a consistent, just a 10 from Burks, Bullock gets us 10, and then IQ can get us 10. That's 30. That's 30 points.
When's the last time IQ scored in double digits? Maybe a couple games ago. 12
for the All-Star break, probably.
You know what's funny? I'm like, dang, this dude had to hit the rookie wall right now.
I don't even know if it's the rookie wall, bro. I think it's people have figured out how he's getting the fouls on his floater. I think they kind of figured it out, and they're just taking different ways to defend him, I think.
And to be honest with you, Sam, I'm kind of getting a little annoyed with IQ myself, because last game he did something that just pissed me off. Like, he's complaining to the refs.
Yeah.
Just like, and he's not getting back. And I'm like, bro, you are, I don't care. Because, see, this is the problem with young people sometimes, and I know I'm 27, so I get it, everybody. But IQ is 21, so I'm his senpai. So I think the problem with him is, I feel like sometimes it goes to a lot of kids. They're on social media. He sees the hype. He sees that he's up there with Edwards and LaMelo Ball and Tyrese Halliburton, and I think he feels like he's in his 5th year versus his rookie year, and good. I love IQ. He's doing a good job, but he's been doing too much crazy stuff, man. Like Guillermo says, he gets the ball deep, and chucks the shot up, or he doesn't even it's bad when you got Clyde saying this dude doesn't even go for the shots anymore. He's going to get the foul, and it's like, bro, if they figured it out, NBA scouts have figured it out. So it's like, and then the part that's getting me mad the most, and which I'm like, I think this is doing a good job with it, is when he complains and doesn't get back and he complains to the refs, he takes him out, which I'm 100% for, because he just can't. You can't be doing that, bro. There was many, like even last year with RJ, there was many times RJ used to get hit and he didn't complain. He just went back on defense.
Right.
IQ. You gotta act like, bro. You're a rookie, bro. They're not gonna give you those. They're not gonna give you those calls until you're maybe what 5-6 years in the league.
Yeah. I mean, they were giving it to him. I think what happened is because they were giving it to him early. He got used to it. He felt like, oh, I'm always gonna get it. And then when referees kind of caught on to what he was doing, other players in the team, now he's not getting it. Now he's banging on the floor. Trying to get the call and stuff like that. Hey, Andy, I'm gonna get right to you. My bad, because I had this guy on the line for that whole debate. You've been on for like a half an hour. Caller, you live. What's popping, man? I apologize. I left you hanging. Hold on, let me get to him. Caller, you there? Caller, hello.
Hey, what's up, Tim?
Hey, what's going on, man? I apologize. I know I left you hanging there for a while. That whole time we were having a conversation, but I appreciate you holding on with me, bro.
No problem, man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How you feeling? Yeah, it's been a while.
I'm all right.
So how you feeling about these final 20 games? We're coming down. We got the playoff push coming. We got 20 more games left to the season. 17 of those 20 games are against teams who are fighting for, at the very least, the 10th seed, fighting to be in the play-in tournament. Because I count Toronto. Toronto's in the 11th seed. They're like a game out of it. So, they're fighting for that spot as well. How do you feel?
I feel optimistic. We didn't think we would be here at the beginning of the season. Anybody who says that is a liar. We all thought it was 22 games, 23, 25. To be in the hunt, practically be in the playoffs for most of the year is a beautiful thing. And, the progression of RJ, the ascension of Julius Randle, I mean, I think we're in a great place. I think, we're going to make the 10th seed, so it's just about how we play when we get into the play-in games. And,
we still got a battle to go. We still got a battle to go to even get to that 10th seed. Listen, if we have to be in the play-in tournament, at least be the 7th or 8th seed, because you get 2 chances, right?
Yeah.
Is that how it works?
Yeah, that's how it works. So the 7th seed and the 8th seed play against each other. The winner of that game is the 7th seed. And then the 9th and the 10th seeds, they play against each other. The loser is eliminated. The winner plays against the loser of the 7th and 8th seed. And then the winner of that game becomes the 8th seed. So whoever's in the 7th and the 8th seed, they get 2 chances. It's double elimination for them.
And then, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So
wait, hold on. So Sim, hypothetically, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, okay, it would be not hypothetical right now. So we'll face this. So it'll be the Knicks versus Celtics. Let's say the Knicks.
Right.
Let's say the Knicks win. We become the 7th seed. So we're done, right?
So we're done until the playoffs start. Right.
So then it'll be the Celtics versus out of Pacers or the Bulls.
Exactly. For the 8th seed. For the 8th seed, like that.
Okay.
Right. For the 8th seed. Yep. So, so if you got to be in that play-in tournament, at least be 7 or 8, where you get a chance to, you get 2 chances.
Yeah, definitely. But I don't know. The way I've been watching RJ play, I think that boy's got some. We're going to see some amazing things from him come real games.
Well, I'm hoping so. He had 29 points last night, a big 3 to tie the game up. Plays solid basketball. I love the little mid-range jump shot he's developing. It's not like he's jab stepping. He's getting it, boop, boop, pull up at the foul line, pull up at the elbow, knocking them down. Love it.
Yeah, that's his bread and butter. I hope he gets 20,000 points at that mid-range, because he's looking. It's looking nice every time he lets it go. But Only thing I'm worried about him with is his handle.
Well, I mean,
he let that game go last night against with his handle. He coughed it up on the sideline.
Yeah, but he got the 3 back to tie the game. He got the 3 back to tie the game. He did cough it up, but he tied the game with a 3. So, if anything, yes, he coughed it up, but he was strong enough. Like, he went on to the next play. That play didn't bother him anymore. He went on to the next play. So,
bro,
yeah.
It's okay.
Thanks a lot, Tim. I got to get back to work, but I wanted to say thank you.
Appreciate
It's been a long time since I talked to you guys. COVID got me, and then I was, daddy daycare for, the last 8 months. So
okay. Well, hopefully you're healthy and everything is good with you, man.
Yeah, so I wanted to make sure I called and let you guys know we're still there, all the Knicks family. So take care and talk to you guys in the playoffs.
All right, appreciate it.
Oh wait, Sim, is that the dude I said that's the dude from Breaking Bad?
No. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I don't remember. I don't know.
Jesse. Oh, yeah, that is it. That's Jesse Pinkman.
Yeah.
That's my dude.
But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we're down to the final 20, and since the New York Knicks have no talent on the team.
I never said that.
There we go.
Since we have,
you see, and you saw they change the narrative. You see what they do. I didn't say they were talented either. I didn't say. See,
can I go over my little part right here?
Slick. He think he's slick.
Listen, listen. Since we don't have a lot of talent, the things that I'm talking about, the things that.
Swear to God, yo.
Look, hold up. The things that I'm talking about, the needs, what we need to do to make the playoffs. Close out games, fourth quarter execution, defensive and offensive rebounding. We need a third scorer, offensive execution, taking care of the ball, timely defense. Because we have this, we have a lack of talent, I think it's hard because, we got to give extreme effort throughout the game, and then we don't have something. We don't have enough to bump us up to another level when it gets to that fourth quarter execution because we don't have no talent. Go ahead, Andy.
You see?
Yeah, Sim always do this, yo.
I think he's slick. Now I don't think we said this, but go ahead.
He goes like this, Gilbo. Isaiah Gilmore say
Yep. And you saw how he was working it up before he got in the chat, right? He was like, he said, I didn't say no names, but
what you talking about?
He's slick. Go ahead, Andy. I'm not gonna say anything. Go ahead, Andy. I'm sorry, Andy.
Yeah.
Isaiah Gilmore don't know what he's talking about. Go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, just to the point. I lost the idea. I was definitely gonna say something to Isaiah, but I'm past that. About Julius Randle getting smaller guys on the offensive end versus him, right, on the defenders, small defenders. I think they're causing that because Julius isn't playing really down into the post. He doesn't get the ball lower the free throw line even. So I think that's the problem because if he has to take at least a couple of dribbles, the small defenders feel really comfortable trying to poke that ball and trying to get the offensive foul, like you said, Sim. But if he would be playing like I don't know, 5-6 feet from the basket, that he would require only like one dribble and then make a move. That would be totally different, and we would never see a Marcus Smart versus him unless it would be like, I don't know, some kind of weird situation. But they would never switch a point guard or a shooting guard versus him. Yeah. Just we don't use that, on the offense. So it's like Guillermo said, the double screen thing that, then I would love that to happen, but we're not going to see this. We already saw everything an offense Tibbs had to show us.
Yeah. How much do you think, about the offense? And, we don't know. I don't know what Tibbs. I think Tibbs can coach offense.
Yep, he can.
How much of it is due to, with it being, they didn't have a lot of time in training camp. He said, listen, we're just going to put in some, we're going to put in some things now. Next year, hopefully they have a longer training camp where they can really put in some things. They'll have some different players on the team. Do you think some of it is just that right there? Because they didn't have a lot of time to really put some stuff in.
It is. That's for Andy. My bad, Andy. I'm sorry.
No, it might anybody,
be, but also I think, Sim, that we don't have the perfect roster for playing Thibs
You
offense.
can say the word talent. Don't worry.
No, but hold on.
You know, debate with Guillermo.
Yeah, but he's right because all right,
I would say talented passers. I would say more talented passers, but that's still
Well, but look
I think that you might watch a language. So,
but look at what they've run. Here's the thing, right? Because I don't like when people try to kill. And granted, before he got hired, I was on the train. I thought that all you could do is do defense. If you go to the first Warriors game, right, they've run stuff like the Spain pick and roll. It was Obi, Nonzawell, and Quickly. But Obi was the guy setting the first pick when he should have been the second guy to split out to shoot while Nonzawell runs to the basket. But you saw IQ and you saw Obi. They're like, they know. It's like, hey, let's do it. But they just don't have the talent. Like you said, they didn't have the practices. They run horns. They run. Look at the Bucks game. Without Randall, granted, they had Taj, who's a smart player. But they were running it ad nauseum, right? It's like we don't, I don't want to say talent, but it's like you have to go with Randall and these guys. And granted, I actually think that you can run a little bit more triangle, though they should. They should probably run a little bit more horns to get guys like Obi, RJ ready to use the pick. I showed it last week when we were talking about it. They can run those things, but I just feel like Tibbs is like, well, look, if the Knicks only have 5 wins, I could be more experimental. But we're in the playoff hunt. I can't risk having Obi and these guys. And granted, we didn't have an off season. I can't risk these guys trying to run some of these plays and they just don't get it yet. So I think that you give these guys some time and yes, some talent next year, you probably see a more expansive offense. But right now, I can't really kill Tibbs. I can't.
They go with what they have and what they were able to, and you don't get any practices. Yeah. You barely get practices to be able to say, okay, let's add this wrinkle, let's add that wrinkle. So
you can't when they do those shoot arounds, right? After games, you can't have no assistant coach, you can't have nobody out there with those guys?
After games?
Why not?
Like when they shoot after the games at MSG, they can't have no assistant.
I think you can. I think they could put in practices. I don't know. You know what? That's something to think about and look at because I'm sure the NBA Players Association is like you can only practice during this time and that time. Like that's what they're there for. So I guess we'd have to look and see.
I know the COVID rules restricted a lot of. No. I'm sorry. They removed a lot of the COVID rules. So I do think you can do that. But I like earlier today before your show, I took a look at the schedule, and to be honest with you, Sim, it's gonna be hard to practice because a lot of these games, Sim, like I want everybody to really look at the schedule of the games. We have I think we have a mini break, like a mini break from like April 28th, and then we play, I think, April 3rd or 4th. After that, it's literally we play April 9th, miss a day, we play April 11th. After that, it's literally we have 1 day off games. That's it.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm looking now. So
there's really no practice.
So right now you play Memphis tomorrow. Then on Sunday they play Toronto. On Monday they play the Lakers. Then they fly to New Orleans. So you're gonna have they'll probably fly to New Orleans Monday night. They'll wake up in New Orleans, probably have a shoot around, and then they play on the 14th. Then they play on the 16th. Then the 18th. Then the 20th. Then the 21st. Right? And then you got the 24th, the 26th, the 28th, the 2nd, the 3rd, then the 5th, then the 7th, then the 9th, then the 11th, then the 13th. And then the last 2 games are to be determined.
Yeah,
it's 1 day off and then a game, then 1 day off, then a game.
So like Guillermo says, we literally can't have practices. We most likely have to do shoot around.
Not just that. I just wonder if there's an NBA PA because in football, right, you can't even sneak around. My bad for the noise. You can't even sneak around and have. It might be an NBA PA thing where it's like we know if you guys are running stuff or have somebody from personnel doing that. So no, give these guys rest or whatever. But that's where a Taj and a Rose would come in, where it's like, yeah, let's just act like we're shooting around and let's just try out this, this play over here, something like that. So. At this point, at this point, it's 20 games left. We'll see what's going to happen. It's going to be, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, earlier, if you weren't here earlier, if you have the means for these final 20 games, pad your walls,
Put some cushion around your remote control. You know, Andy is inventing a TV screen, with tempered glass that you can't break. If you have the means, get this stuff. When you watch the games, either close the door, tell your wife, your husband, your kids, put headphones in. That way you can scream, you can punch the wall, you can throw your remote at the TV, you can do all of that without much damage. That's all I'm gonna say, because it's gonna be like that.
You know how you could defeat all that? You know how you could just take all that away? If you realize this team doesn't have a lot of talent and you're happy with what we got, you'll be good. You see?
But I'm saying,
you see how easy it is?
But even
I'm only joking.
Even if you say we don't have no talent,
I didn't say that.
If you say we don't have no talent, they still want to win.
Of course.
Fans still want to win the basketball game, and they're going to go nuts. They're going to go crazy. All the people out there that say, I don't care if we win or lose because this, that, and the third, they're lying. They are lying. When they watch the games, they care. You can't help it but to care. They're lying. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it's a good show, fun show. You know, and I feel bad for Isaiah's kids because,
my kids are going to be amazing.
And this is what I'm going to do.
My kids.
How do we get to the kid? What?
I don't want to hear nothing when I'm balling like LeVar Ball.
Listen, I am going to cut out this clip. And as soon as when Isaiah has a kid, I'm going to show him the clip when he turns 5, 6 years old. Be like, see your dad, he was trying to trade you for Jalen Suggs or something. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Because you couldn't run at 1 month old. You couldn't run. And then your kid is gonna be mad at you.
He'll be mad at me because I'm putting my kids in a headlock. But
I'm gonna tell him, be like, all I wanted you to do, I'm gonna say, little man, all I wanted you to do was take your time and learn how to walk across the room. He wanted you to do it at 2 months. At 2 months.
Well, listen,
I'm gonna tell him. I'm writing.
He gonna be like, Uncle Sam, don't do that.
I'm writing.
Oh man.
This is Jalen Brunson's cousin, everybody. Jalen Brunson's in the NBA. What happened to Isaiah?
First of all, I gave Jalen all the talent. Listen, I asked Jalen, I used to dribble the ball, listen, man, I got it, man. I gave Jalen all the pointers, even though, I'm not gonna lie, I don't even know Jalen personally. but listen, I hope I'm gonna text him and be like, yo, I need a couple.
You don't know him. You don't got his number. You just said you don't know him. You said I'm gonna text him.
Listen, that's the beauty of our family. I could get that number real quick.
Tell him to take a discount and come to the Knicks.
There you go.
I don't think he's in the yellow pages, Isaiah.
Listen, I think actually I have a family. He's stupid, Andy. I think I got a family reunion coming up. So if he's there, you know I'm talking to him about going to the Knicks.
Have you seen him before? Have you actually seen him before?
His family, because he's from Rhode Island. He lived on Rhode Island, so I never really seen him before.
Oh, okay.
Hey. Anyway, we're going to head out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Gmo, you have something going on tonight?
Not tonight. I'll try to do some on Saturday. I have some work, so I'm not doing anything tonight.
What about tomorrow?
Tomorrow's the game.
You're doing
Friday?
The game tomorrow, right? But
I'm sorry. Yes, I'm doing a watch long tomorrow, and then Saturday I'll try to have something on Saturday. And if you're available during the day, because I'll set up some topics where I'll screw up the narrative for you. I'll make you public enemy number one, and then of course
I love being public enemy number one.
You got lucky last time because for some reason State didn't want to attack you. When literally State on Twitter kills Alfred Payne, he throws literally a meme, probably a minute on Alfred Payne. He comes into my chat. He's all defeated now. He doesn't want to say anything the same. Oh yeah, Seven, you make a good point.
Because State already knows. That's all I'm saying. He knows. He knows what the deal is.
Dogs, are you kidding me?
State knows. That's why I told him. State knows what the deal is.
Knows what, Sim?
But it's the art. There's a whole heart. There's an entire art to everything. As soon as I seen State, you notice I came in and I said, first thing I want to do is give a shout out to State for being the first responder, right? Softened the blow right there. Softened everything up right there. You couldn't say nothing after that.
psychological warfare. He thinks he's slick.
But this is what Sim do, right? He do the smile. He do the look. He do that smile right there. He do that. What's going on, everybody? Yo, I'm Simeon Russell. Yo, everybody like.
He doesn't say, yo, I'm Simeon Russell.
Gilbert, you always say, yo, Gilbert. You always say his whole name. Yo, I'm Simeon Russell. Nice to meet everybody.
But what does he do before that? He gives a speech where he's like, I ain't talking to nobody. For pain, y'all cool? Y'all need to stop that.
Gilbert.
The phone open the video chat. It's like, yo, Sim, why do you think
Gilbert, it be like this, bro? Gilbert, every time he back, yo, because everybody in the chat don't know what they talking about.
Yup.
No. He be like, no, for real. Because I'm tired of this. I see what you talk about is no one paying this, no one paying that. See, the whole part of y'all don't understand the game. See, this is what y'all. So
and he'll get. See, Sim also knows that. He knows it's perfect. Like if he has a bad game, he'll make sure to Divine, Stephanie, if Andy's awake, he makes sure to get the horsemen.
You know what?
If Isaiah says something, they just all.
But here's the thing. I don't ask anybody to come in. They just sometimes they come in, sometimes they don't.
Oh, Gilbert.
I don't know.
Oh, Gilbert, he knows.
He think he's slick, but when Sim don't want to in the chat yet, he'll be, oh yeah, I couldn't open the chat. I had some technical difficulties.
No, man, we had an entire thing lined up. We had to get through it first.
Yeah, sure.
Gilbert, whole time. Yeah, every time I say something, hello, you know what you're talking.
No. Because all Isaiah does when we chat or when we debate is say, but hold up. But Sim though, but hold up though. Anyway, I got to get out of here, ladies and gentlemen. It's been fun. It's been a great one. It's been fun. Make sure you check out Legion tomorrow night. I'll be doing a game preview tomorrow afternoon. Check out Legion tomorrow night. I would say go check out 3BL or something like that, but I can't.
Why do you?
Because he's mad. I agree with Sim on that. He gave you a whole platform to cook, and I told you all the ideas you could do. You don't want to do it, so I agree with Sim on that one. Good one, Sim.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, last words, Andy. Let me get some last words, Andy. I'll start with you, then we'll go around the horn.
Yeah, I just hope the Knicks are gonna go, that many wins that we're gonna make the playoffs in the 7th or the 8th seed. I don't see us getting as high as the 6th safe spot, but I'm going to take the 7th or the 8th, and I'm going to take the 9th or the 10th if we're going to make it to the playoffs. So I just want us to get those extra 4 or 5 games in the playoffs. I'm going to be happy with.
Okay. All right. Oh, you know what? Let me get to a couple I forgot about the super chats. Fade for Kaminga, he said, Tibbs has overachieved with the team, but at the same time, his rotations have cost us. He said, and half of these guys won't be here next year. And Sandy Valerio, he said, players that were contributing during, in the past need to do it again as quickly and others. Yeah, that's what we're hoping, that they can do it again. I appreciate you all. Thank you for the super chats. Isaiah?
Listen, we at 3BL, we are coming back, sir. We are going to get ready for this draft. For this NFL draft, don't you worry. And then cooking with 7J. We are not dead. We are rising like the Phoenix, everybody. Caw. That's it.
See, you messed up. You should have said we are rising like dough. Cooking with Chef Zay, rising like dough. But anyway, you lost it. Gmo?
Nah, man, salute to you guys, man. Great episode. It should be fun. Whether they win or lose, I want them to win, obviously. But tomorrow should be fun. And even when we lose, man, this is a great experience for RJ and Randall. RJ, my son, he was him from 3 yesterday. I was, it brought a tear to my eye, you know what I mean? So, salute to RJ. And Tom Thibodeau, he's doing a bang job, man. Like, this is not easy. And I'll say this, just to give Tom Thibodeau a lot of credit, because I think his coaching. You put some of these playoff coaches in Tom Thibodeau's position, I'm not sure to get the same results, because Tom Thibodeau's an old school coach, and his team, what we needed was culture, discipline, and a foundation, and he's been perfect for that. So I'm happy with Tom Thibodeau overall. So go next, man. See what they do tomorrow against the Grizzlies, against my other son, John Moran, who come on.
Hey, Sim, I'm gonna say this, Sim. I think RJ gonna have RJ plays good when people snub him. I've noticed that. He got snubbed from that whack ass ESPN list the other day. And he's gonna go against somebody that he was snubbed off the rookie team. I think he's gonna go hard tomorrow, man.
Well, let's be honest. John Morant was better than RJ.
John Morant was better than RJ last year. I'm not gonna lie, he was. But RJ, I think RJ got him on his list.
We'll see. Let's hope, man. I hope so. We need him. He's playing good basketball, though. Playing great basketball. So I do want to remind everybody, man, next Friday, 5 p.m., the Queen's Court is going to debut. So please make sure that you check us out. Well, I won't be on it. Check out Steph and her panel. And it's going to be dope, ladies and gentlemen. The Queen's Court. This is the logo. Next Friday, 5 p.m. Look for the notification in the next couple of hours. And set your reminders. Queen's Court. That's the logo. Ladies and gentlemen, we're out of here. We appreciate you. Thank you for your time. Be peaceful, spread love, and we're up out of here.